Poof called the process awakening. The 12 squadron leaders who awakened were Leo, the lion, Peggy, the penguin, Colt, the birdman, Melioron, the chameleon, octopus, turtle, and so on. It's great, I feel a steady flow of power in my body. With Poof's guidance, the squadron leaders mastered Nen one after the other. They marveled at the constant surge of energy in their bodies. Each showed surprise, excitement, and arrogance for gaining power. Amongst them, there are a few leaders who thought that they are as strong as the king's guards. However, this naive idea was quickly shattered. When Poof and Yuppie released their aura, they realized that they were far behind. The difference in aura was wide apart. Nen is actually the potential of the body, and you just mastered manipulating that energy in your body. If you want to further improve, you can develop Nen abilities. Poof explained. Master Poof, even though he awakened, those humans can't be underestimated. I hope Master Poof can take action and help us with this, Peggy said. The other leader looked expectantly at Poof. Although I really want to take action, my duty doesn't allow me to leave the Ant King for even a moment, Poof said in an embarrassed tone, but it was apparent that he looked down on the humans. Yes, before the birth of our king, as direct guards, we need to guard the Ant King all the way till his birth, Yuppie added. Seeing the two king's guards unwilling to take action, the squadron leaders were a little angry. After all, in terms of power, the two of them were in their own leader. At this time, the turtle man stood up and said, last time, even for Neferpito was killed. Just relying on our meager strength, I'm afraid that we can't do anything to those humans. Before the turtle man could finish his words, Poof appeared in front of him and with a punch, sent him flying away. The other squadron leader was shocked and couldn't react at all. Listen well, if any of you have the same opinion as that turtle, I will kill you all, Poof warned them. The squadron leader didn't refute his words and didn't dare disobey. As one of the king's guards, Pito was killed by a human, which means that she is weak and can only blame herself, Poof said. The squadron leader could only accept their words because there is nothing they can do. Okay, we're going back. The king should be born tomorrow at the latest. If you can't deal with the humans by then, you can't run away if the king blames you. After saying this, Poof and Yuppie left. After they left, the remaining squadron leaders were relieved, but soon they turned serious. What should we do now? What else can we do? Of course, kill those humans. But those humans are so strong, can we really deal with them? There is no other way. If we don't go, the king's guards will execute us. It seems like we can only fight. The squadron leader seemed depressed because they realized that both ways may lead to death. However, what made them afraid of the humans was Pito's death 10 days ago. Although they didn't participate in the fight that night, the battle between Pito and the humans was very fierce. They thought that Pito would surely kill the humans, but in the end, she was killed instead. Since then, they have greatly reduced the range of their activity and didn't dare appear in the territory of the humans. However, 10 days later, which is today, the humans formed a team to exterminate them. Being forced to this point, apart from feeling, they could only fight to the death. As for running away, it was impossible, because if they run away, it would mean that admitted defeat in front of the humans, and they would become deserters and the king's guards would kill them. So, they could only choose to fight humans. We have an absolute advantage in terms of numbers, and we can defeat them with quantity, said Penguin. Quantity? This method was used before, but it didn't work. The soldier ants are weak, they are no different from cannon fodders. They will be wiped out easily. They can only be used to wear the enemy's strength because only squadron leader can deal with those humans, Colt said. Since there is no good way, we can only adapt to the circumstances, said Melioron. At the same time, on a hillside, 2 kilometers away from the main nest of the ants. Do you see that? That towering peak in the distance is the main nest of the ants, Allan said while standing on top of a mountain. Well, although it's far away, I can feel the ominous feeling from that place, Gel said solemnly. It looks like they are all gathered there, waiting for a showdown with me, Allan said. What now? Jell asked. Before Kite and the others arrive, let me give them a heavy blow first. Hearing this, Jell looked puzzled. What are you going to do? I want to destroy that mountain, Allan laughed. Destroy the mountain? Jell couldn't believe this. Can you even do that? Of course, don't underestimate me, Allan said. Seeing Allan's confidence, Jell didn't ask anymore and waited to see what he will do. Allan took the tomato, shusui, from the inventory, then held it with both hands and approached the nest. The entire nest was 1,500 meters tall. It's naturally impossible to destroy it, but Allan could split it apart. With his level 7 swordsmanship, he only needed a full blow to do just that. Allan swung shusui, and a blue arc of energy rushed toward the mountain. In the next second, the cave in which the squadron leaders resided, started shaking and collapsing. What's happening? We're being attacked? Everyone, hurry up and leave. The powerful energy slash made the entire mountain shake violently and caused the squadron leader to flee. You actually split the mountain apart? Jell was shocked when she saw Allan slash the nest. The destruction caused by a single slash made the entire mountain collapse. Above, in the air, Allan held shusui like some demon god out to destroy the world. He once again unleashed another slash. The already split mountain was once again hit, and boulders started flying in the air. The Chimera Ants soldiers were wiped out due to this devastating blow. The squadron leaders who originally planned on fighting the humans to death were caught off guard. They were lucky enough to escape the nest in one piece. The first idea that came to their mind was to run away as far as possible. However, they still had one question they couldn't answer: who attacked the nest? What method was used to cause such destruction? Then, they looked at the sky. They saw a man holding a black sword floating leisurely in the air. Seeing Allan and feeling the immense presence he carried, caused them to feel astonished. Such power? Is he the one who destroyed the nest? His aura is more oppressive than Master Poof and Yuppie. Is he the human who killed Master Pedo? Countless questions emerged in the minds of the squadron leader as it was the first time they saw such a powerful aura released from a human. His presence was not weaker than the king's guards, maybe even stronger. Just looking at him from a distance made them think he is invincible. At this time, Allan also noticed the squadron leader on the ground who escaped from the nest. However, he didn't do anything. Because he didn't bother wasting his energy on eliminating those guys. Moreover, he believed the attack just now should alert Kite and the others, who should be here soon. At that time, the squadron leaders would be dealt with. The ones who can make Allan a little bit interested in fighting them were Poof and Yuppie. Of course, there is also the Ant King. Allan wasn't interested in the rest of the Chimera Ants. Those squadron leaders released that Allan didn't bother with them. No, it should be he didn't put them in his eyes. This made them very upset, but due to Allan's display of power, they were afraid to make a move and wanted to leave this place quickly. After all, their lives were more important than their pride. So, they directly started running away, but unfortunately, they run into Kite and the others. Therefore, the two sides engaged in a racial fight. While they were fighting, Allan returned to Jell's side. Allan, you are really strong. You destroyed the main nest and all of the ants gathered there were wiped out. Isn't it better to take advantage of the situation and destroy them? Regarding Jell's suggestion, Allan waved his hand and smiled. Although some of them slipped out, I believe Kite and the others will deal with them, so we don't have to make a move. Okay. What shall we do now? Jell asked. Wait here for them to come and then go find where the Ant King is going to be born, Allan said. Where will he be born? Jell asked. Allan shrugged. I don't know, but I'm sure it's not here. If it was, I would have found out. Jell nodded and didn't ask anymore. She now knows Allan's strength, so everything is under his control. Allan said what to do, and she will do as he said. By the way, Allan, do you have a teacher? Gel asked. No. Allan shook his head as he didn't have a teacher. You don't have a teacher, so how come you're so strong? Gel asked curiously. Maybe I'm talented. Allan smiled, he is not naive enough to tell about his system. Let me ask something else. Gel thought for a while. What is it? Allan asked. Are you single? Gel asked a question that Allan didn't expect. Allan nodded, yes. How old are you? Gel asked again. About 20, Allan replied. Oh, do you want a girlfriend? You want to introduce me to someone? How about I introduce myself? Gel laughed. Introduce yourself? Allan pretended to be surprised. Are you really stupid or are you pretending to be confused? I've already said it. It's so obvious, so what's your reply? Gel asked anxiously. Allan smiled. Well, before replying, I want to ask, what does Miss Gel like about me? I have taken fancy to all aspects, Gel said straightforwardly. All aspects? Well, you're young, handsome, and most importantly, really strong, Gel said. I think only the last point attracts you, Allan said speechlessly. You can say that I admire strong people, so I hope to find someone strong that can protect me. Gel expressed her inner thoughts about the criteria for choosing a spouse. So, I meet your criteria then? Allan laughed. Well, that's how it is. Gel nodded and waited for Allan to agree. Thing. Make a choice. 1. Become Gel's boyfriend. Reward, slow fruit. 2. Reject Gel and insist on staying single. Reward, 5,000 nen points. Compared to the nen points, the slow fruit was better. Moreover, Allan thought that it was about time to stop being single, so he picked the first option. Okay, I will be your boyfriend. Hearing Allan's answer, Gel was very happy and said, then, we will be lovers from now on, so take responsibility and protect me. Of course. Allan smiled. At the same time, Allan received his reward from the system. Allan took out the slow fruit and said, this is for you. What's this? A fruit? Gel looked curiously. Allan smiled slightly. This is not an ordinary fruit, it's called a devil fruit. As the name suggests, there is a devil inside it. As long as you eat it, you can have the same power as that devil. It has the power of a devil? Gel was surprised and hesitated. She believed in Allan, but she didn't hear about something so magical in the world. Is this a product of Nen? No. Where did you get it? I can't answer that. Hearing this, Gel wasn't interested in asking more, but she said, devil fruits should be rare, right? Why are you giving me such a precious thing? Because you're already my girlfriend, this is to show my feelings. Allan smiled. Okay, thank you. Gel took the fruit before eating it. It's so bad. Gel looked disgusted. After swallowing all of the fruit, Gel said with disgust, it's so unpalatable. Allan smiled and said, actually, you only had to take a bite, and throw the rest. What? Gel felt like she was teased by Allan and couldn't help hammering his chest with her small fists. Well, do you feel any change? Allan asked. Gel waited for a bit and said, no. Try it, Allan said. How do I try it? Gel asked curiously. Allan smiled slightly. You only need to place your fingers like this and the slow light will emerge from your finger. When a target is hit, he will move slowly within the next 30 seconds. Hearing this and seeing the handed gesture, Gel raised her index finger and said, like this. As soon as she made the gesture, a purple light hit Allan. Allan felt strange energy restricting his body. Stupid. You didn't have to try it on me. Allan was speechless. He was hit with the slow light and he couldn't even speak normally. Sorry. Gel apologized. After 30 seconds, Allan turned to normal, since it could only take effect for 30 seconds. 1. What do you think? Is this ability good? Allan asked. Well, as long as you are hit by the light, you will slow down. It's indeed a powerful ability. Gel looked happy. Thank you, This is such a good gift. As long as you like it, Allan said. By the way, Allan, have you eaten a devil fruit too? Jill asked. Well, I ate one, but the one I ate belongs to another system. It's called the ice fruit, which gave me the ability to use ice at will. Allan stretched his hand and made some ice on his palm. It turns out that you have the power to make ice after eating a devil fruit. I thought it's an inability, Jill said. 2 hours later, Kite arrived at Allan's side. Beside Kite, there is another person. Seeing him, Allan was a little surprised. Mr. Satots, you're the hunter that came with Kite? Long time no see, Allan. Satots looked at Allan for a while then said, I haven't seen you for a while, and you became much stronger. I can't see through you at all. Haha. Allan smiled and asked, Mr. Satots, how come you're here? Satots shrugged and said helplessly, I didn't want to come here, but because the chairman invited me, I had to come and help. I see. Allan nodded. How are the others? Allan asked. They should be here soon because there is a lot of movement from your side just now. The vibration can be felt in a radius of 10 kilometers, so, what did you do? Kite said seriously. It's nothing, I just destroyed the main nest of the ants, Allan said with a relaxed expression. You mean, you destroyed their base? Kite couldn't believe it. That's right, the vibration you felt is the collapse of the nest, Allan said. Hearing this, Kite and Satots couldn't help reevaluate Allan's strength. By the way, does that Ant King still have other guards? Kite asked. It's a pity, there are not here. Allan shook his head. Not here? Kite asked. They should have another hiding place. The place I destroyed is just the main nest on the surface, Allan guessed. Soon after, other members of the extermination team arrived one after the other toward Allan's side. Allan was surprised as he found Menki and Buara. After everyone had a brief conversation, Morel stood up and said, now that the Chimera ants in the NGL have been wiped out, the king and his 2 guards, as well as the queen, are all that remained. Our next target is the guards. After dealing with him, it will be the Ant King's turn. Then, we can look for them quickly. With our ability, we should be able to find them soon, Allan said. Ever since the group of 10 started their search on the other side, inside an underground cave, Poof and Yuppie looked expectantly at the Chimera ant in front of them. This is the queen, and at this moment, the king was inside the queen's belly. You two, listen up. The name of the king is Meruem, he will be born in 3 hours. You must protect this place so he can be born without any trouble. Yes, we swear we'll protect this place. Poof and Yuppie knelt on one knee as they swore. At the same time, on the ground, 100 meters away from the cave, Allan and the other members of the extermination team were trying their best to locate the place where the king's guards were hiding. Strange, have they left the NGL? After searching for a long time, neither Kite nor Morel found any trace of the ants. Allan thought for a bit before he said, it's possible, but I think they shouldn't have left yet. Why do you say that? Kite asked. Because the Ant King is probably not born yet, so they probably didn't leave yet, Allan guessed. How can you be sure that the Ant King hasn't been born yet? What if he is already born? From what I know about the Ant King, if he was born, I should have felt his presence, Allan said seriously. Hearing this, Kite nodded. Based on his knowledge about Allan's strength, Allan wasn't just talking. Moreover, if the Ant King is stronger than Pedo, then his aura would be extremely powerful and can't be hidden, so if the Ant King was born, all of them would feel his aura. But, if they are still in this place, why can't we find them? We almost looked over the entire NGL. Did they run away? Morel's apprentice said. Run away? Allan thought of something and his eyes lit up. Maybe they aren't on the ground, but underground. Underground? Everyone looked surprised. Do you think they are hiding underground? Morel asked. Well, at present, this is the only possibility, otherwise, we might not be able to find them. What do we do now? Menki asked. I think we can just look separately, Nav suggested. No. Allan shook his head. Why? No asked. Let's not talk about the Ant King. The guards alone are very strong. If you fight alone, none of you will be able to defeat them. In other words, if we separate, and they found one of us, we will be defeated one by one. Hearing this, Nav said, we are experienced professional hunters. Even if we can't beat them, we can always escape. Escape? Allan sneered. I'm afraid that when you see one, you won't even have a choice to escape. No, you might not even have the courage to fight at all. Hearing this, Nav angrily said, what do you mean? Do I look like a coward to you? Yes, you are. What can you do? Allan sneered. Bastard. Nav couldn't bear it and kicked Allan, but the latter easily blocked it. Suddenly, Allan appeared behind Nav and before he could react, he was sent flying. Morel and the other who was relatively close to Nav immediately attacked Allan. The three of them rushed forward, but couldn't touch Allan. The three of them were sent flying almost at the same time and fell to the ground. You can see this, you guys aren't that strong. Although the king's guards can't kill you instantly, they won't have any problem in beating you. And if you talk about the Ant King, you four will be dead before you know it, because based on speed, the Ant King is faster than me. Do you see how strong your enemy is? Morel and Nav looked ugly, but they couldn't find any word to refute. They couldn't believe that Allan could defeat them so easily. The power gap was something they didn't expect. At the scene, only the Kite who previously saw Allan's power, and Gel weren't surprised. Because the two of them were clear about Allan's power. Gel looked at Allan and said, Allan, forget it, don't be so mean. As Allan's girlfriend, Gel was on Allan's side. Allan nodded and looked at Kite, Satots, Menki and said, what about you guys? We will do what you say, Kite said. Satots didn't comment. Menki and Buara didn't object. So, now we start to search for any underground cave and the likes. The Ant King and his guards are likely hiding underground. In addition, while searching, remember to constantly use N, and keep your distance to about 40 to 50 meters. Kite and the others nodded their head in agreement and each started using N. Amongst them, Kite's N reached 45 meters, and Satots reached 20 meters. Menki and Buara were about 12 meters. As for Nav and Morel, after being defeated by Allan, they were finally convinced by his power and obediently started to search the ground below. Allan left Gel by his side as the two started searching. Allan didn't use N, instead used observation hockey and made sure that nothing that can move within 1,000 meters can escape his perception. Inside the NGL, Kite and the other and the extermination team followed Allan's instruction and carefully searched below them for any ants. Everyone kept a distance of 40 to 50 meters to cover a larger area. If one of them had an accident, the others can provide support quickly. At the same time, in a cave 100 meters below the ground. It's time, my king is finally getting born. The queen looked at her bulging belly in excitement despite the pain she was feeling. It was painful but she was still happy. On the other side, Poof and Yuppie were also waiting excitedly for their king. They firmly believe that as long as the king is born, humans won't have any chance to survive. It's because of this that they didn't mind the subordinates that were sacrificed. They can ignore soldiers' death because as long as the king is here, the chimera ants won't go extinct. At this moment, Poof and Yuppie were suddenly surprised. This is the aura of humans? You wondered. He raised his head and looked at the top of the cave. Poof nodded, that's right, that's the aura of humans, right above us on the surface. Both of them felt the aura 100 meters above at the same time. It seems like our remaining forces were wiped out by them. Yuppie said seriously. Even those squadron leaders were wiped out? Who knows, maybe they escaped, Poof sneered. He didn't trust the squadron leaders anyway. Poof said, now, we're the only two capable of protecting the king and the queen, Yuppie. We are more than enough. Yuppie grinned, We must let those humans know that they can't compare to our powers. Yuppie, you're stronger than me, so go up and deal with them first. I will wait here for the king to be born, Poof said. Although those humans won't find the cave underground, it's a matter of time before they do. As the king's guards, their duty was to protect the king and eliminate all threats. Furthermore, being forced into their current circumstances by the human, made them unable to bear with the humiliation anymore. I will go kill them, Yuppie said with a gloomy face. Poof remembered something and said, Yuppie, remember to bring their bodies back here so the king can eat them, we mustn't waste nutrition. Yuppie nodded, well, I will deal with them and bring them back for the king to enjoy. Everything depends on you. Also, even though your opponents are humans, don't underestimate them. You must take them seriously. Poof reminded. I know, just wait for my good news. After saying this, a pair of wings surged from Yuppie's back. Yuppie directly flew high toward the surface as fast as he can. At this time, Kite was seriously searching for any trace of ants, while Allan and Gel were on the side. Allan stared at the cliff in front of him and focused his observation hockey to take a look. This is it, they are here, Allan said. You mean, they are hiding there? Gel was shocked. Allan nodded, I already felt their presence, they're below. What do we do now? Gel asked. Allan thought for a while and said, you go tell the others, I will make them come out. Okay. Gel nodded and left. Allan took out Shusui and slashed downward. A mighty energy slash rushed straight into the abyss. Yuppie, who was rushing up, encountered the flying slash on the way, was directly slashed by it as he was unprepared. Allan stared sharply at the abyss in front of him. He just saw a bright light from below. Did I hit him? Allan narrowed his eyes, trying to lock into his target. Yuppie, who was hit by the energy slash, fell and couldn't resist its might quickly. But Yuppie's physical strength was immense, so, in the end, he stopped the slash, but despite this, he still received some injuries. Although the injuries were not severe, the mere thought that a human injured him made him furious. Bastard! With an angry shout, Yuppie's aura rose sharply as he spread his wings. At the same time, Allan felt the strong aura coming from below and said, here he comes. In the next second, a figure rushed up from the abyss and appeared in front of Allan. Allan recognized him at a glance. Human, was it you who attacked me just now? Seeing Allan, Yuppie asked immediately. Yes, it was me, Allan admitted directly. I'm going to kill you. Yuppie gritted his teeth as he looked at Allan. Come. Allan hooked his finger in provocation. Ding. Make a choice. 1. Single-handedly kills Yuppie. Reward, Rumble Rumble Fruit. 2. Retreat temporarily and seek support. Reward, Fire Elise, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. Naturally, Allan's choice was the first option. Allan wouldn't retreat facing danger. As for finding support, Allan didn't need them or want to rely on anyone. He is very confident in his strength, and even if the Ant King was his opponent he would face him alone, not to mention Yuppie. Allan looked at Yuppie and said, come on, show me what you got. Damn human, I will kill you. Yuppie fluttered his wings and he swooped down from the air with an angry face, preparing to punch Allan. Armament, hardening. Allan's fist turned black and threw a punch back. The shockwave from the collision was astonishing. What? Yuppie's eyes widened. He didn't expect Allan's power to be his equal. Impossible. Yuppie punched again, and this time he used almost all of his strength. Bring it on. Allan didn't evade at all, his black fist directly collided with Yuppie's fist. Sparks flew from the collision between their fists. He blocked it again. Yuppie's eyes widened as he couldn't believe what happened. Impossible. How could a mere human being have such power to even match my strength? That's reality. Allan sneered. The humans you look down upon are far more powerful than you think. Damn it. Yuppie couldn't accept that he can't match a human's strength. His aura erupted around him as he launched a fierce attack. Allan sneered and met his attack without fear. The top-level armament hockey covered his body, making it seem like steel. No, it was harder than steel. At the foot of the mountain, the other members of the extermination team felt two very powerful aura and couldn't help ask, "What is this aura? And there are two of them, who has such strength?" Nav asked incredulously. Nav didn't feel such a strong power before, and it was beyond his imagination. "I'm afraid that even Chairman Netero doesn't have such a strong aura, right?" The power they felt was so strong that it shook his very soul, making him have no courage to face such a foe. Morel calmed down, but cold sweat appeared on his forehead, as he solemnly looked at the top of the mountain and said, "If I guessed correctly, one of those two is a chimera ant, and the other is familiar, and it belongs to Allan." Kite next to him replied, with his eyes looking at the mountain in the distance. "What? You said that one of the two whereas belongs to Allan? How is that possible? How could he be so strong?" Hearing Kite's words, Nav, who had always been doubting Allan, asked in disbelief. Not only him, even Buara and Mankey were surprised. The reason was simple: they never felt such an amazing aura before. From their perspective, it's impossible for an average person to have such a strong aura. Even if there is one, it should be an old monster, such as Chairman Netero. Allan is only in his early 20s at best. He is too young to have such a strong nen, even if he started training when he was very young. Kite, are you sure that the other aura belongs to Allan and not a chimera ant? Is it possible that it is the Ant King? Morel asked. Kite shook his head. "I'm very sure, as I felt Allan's aura before. I can guarantee that one of them is really Allan. If you don't believe me, you can try to feel his aura. You would be able to feel that compared to Allan's aura, the other one is filled with malice. Have you ever felt that kind of aura from a human before? That one is sure from a chimera ant, while the other aura is free of malice, but it's very sharp. That aura belongs to Allan. In other words, Allan is fighting a monster, and it's probably one of the king's guards." Seeing Kite so sure, Nav and Morel had to believe his words. "What do we do now?" Nav asked as he pushed his glasses. Kite said in a deep voice, "Of course, we go up and take a look. We have to help if we can, but we may not be able to do anything, since we are facing someone too strong." "Go up?" Nav hesitated. The others looked gloomy. After all, from the aura they felt, the ant was too strong. There is no doubt that it was a terrifying monster. At this moment, Gel appeared. Allan has found the hiding place of the ants, and he is now fighting against one of the guards. Let's go and help. Yeah. Kite nodded and rushed toward the mountain. Allan saved his life before, so he didn't hesitate at all as he rushed forward to help Allan. Even if he might lose his life, he won't regret it. Satats also followed. Although he wasn't very familiar with Allan, he is a professional hunter. This time he was ordered to come and fight against the ants, so he will not be a coward and flee. In addition to those two, Menki intended to help. She is a very brave girl and is quite curious by nature. She wanted to know what kind of ants were the king and his guards. "Menki, do you want to go?" Menki's partner, Buara, asked. "What's the matter, Buara, are you scared?" Menki asked Buara as she saw him shivering. Buara nodded. "This is the first time I felt such a terrifying aura. There are monsters over there, and I don't want to go up." Menki smiled and said, "Well, Buara, you stay here and wait for me then, I want to go up and take a look." "Don't Menki, what if you get hurt?" Buara was worried. Although Menki was his partner, he always regarded her as his sister, so he didn't want her to be in danger. It's selfish, but you can see that he cares. However, Menki smiled and said, "Don't worry, Buara, I will be fine." Menki directly started moving to the mountain. Morel took up his big pipe and said, "Okay, I will go look as well." "Then, let me go with you, teacher." Morel's apprentice, Knuckles a Longshoot, were ready to follow Morel. "Nav, what about you?" Morel turned around and asked. "Morel, "You can go." "I won't go." Nav hesitated then replied. As Nav's partner, Morel could tell that Nav was scared at a glance. "This is the first time I've seen you so scared, Nav, you really let me down." After saying this, Morel ignored Nav and took Knuckles and Shoot to support Allan. Jill followed after them. Allan was her favorite, and she couldn't leave him. So after everyone left, only Buara and Nav remained there. The two of them remained here because of fear, but there is a difference. Buara felt fear from Yuppie's aura that was filled with malice, but Nav was experienced and that shouldn't affect him. Instead, he was afraid of death. He was afraid of being killed. On the top of the mountain, the battle continued as Yuppie and Allan exchanged punches. Their battlefield was already in ruins as the ground and the trees were destroyed. Yuppie was getting more and more afraid the more he fought. He didn't expect a human could have so much power that he can compete with him. On the other side, Kite and the others finally arrived. From the distance, they saw Allan fighting against a crimson humanoid monster. "Is that the king's guard? He looks weird," Morel sighed when he saw Yuppie. "This is amazing." Knuckles and Shoot were shocked by the display of power. Mankey stared at the fight with wide eyes before she said, "Such a strong monster and its aura is so great as well, but can I really use it to make a delicacy?" Morel and the others were speechless after hearing this. Mankey was really too bold. "Kite, are you sure that the monster Allan is currently fighting is a king's guard?" Satots asked. "Well, it should be. The aura and presence are similar to the one I encountered previously, only this one's aura is more ferocious." Kite compared Pito's aura with Yuppie's. Pito's aura was vicious, but not violent. Allan's aura felt as sharp as a sword. "What do you think? Should we go there and help?" Satots asked. Kite's face was serious as he said, "Wait, it's not time yet." Hearing this, everyone continued to watch silently. The battle between Allan and Yuppie reached a level that ordinary hunters can't participate. The fists collided again and this time, Yuppie jumped to a distance and asked, "Human, did you kill Neferpito?" After fighting for a while, Yuppie realized that Allan was strong, and recalling that Pito died against a human, he should be the one who killed her. "Well, it's me indeed," Allan admitted without hesitation. Yuppie gritted his teeth. "Since this guy could kill Pito, then he is able to kill him as well. In other words, Allan's existence is a threat to the Ant King. If I don't get rid of him here, then the king will be in danger." Yuppie thought about the safety of his king at this time. "Damn it, I must kill you," Yuppie said angrily. Allan sneered, "As if you could do anything. Small human, don't be arrogant. Witness how powerful I'm." In the next second, Yuppie released more Nen and his aura skyrocketed. The others witnessed this and felt a strong sense of crisis. "Allan, do you want help?" Kite asked. Allan shook his head and rejected Kite's kindness. "You don't need to take action, I will deal with him myself." Hearing Allan's words, Morel said, "Although you're very strong, that monster obviously hasn't used its full power. You can't deal with it alone. Let us help. If we join hands, we can defeat him." Allan snorted, "Oh, I already said no, so watch from a distance." "Why are you so stubborn?" Morel was angry. "Morel, don't think about it and let Allan deal with it," Kite said. "I believe that he can defeat that monster." "I do as well," Gel said. Morel sighed and said, "Well, since even you said that, then forget it. I want to see how can Allan deal with that monster alone. If he can't do anything, then we can only ask for Chairman Netero's help." While they were talking, Yuppie's body started changing. Yuppie was the only king's guard that wasn't related to humans. He is a mixture between a chimera ant and a magical beast. It's quite apparent since he possesses the most obvious characteristic of a magical beast, which is a strong body. Yuppie's appearance changed as 4 arms emerged from his shoulders. Moreover, each arm was 1.5 meters long and had sharp claws. This is the 6-armed form of Yuppie. Seeing this, Kite, Morel, and everyone else was shocked. What a monster! He grew arms. They could feel that the aura from Yuppie's body become more violent, which meant that this monster got stronger. On the other hand, Allan, who was facing Yuppie, seemed quite calm. He wasn't surprised by the additional arms because he already knew about this. He knew that Yuppie can change his body due to the property he got from the magical beast. Judging from his aura, it has already increased a lot. The most important thing is that with 6 arms, he got 4 additional fists to use. I'm the king's shield, it's my duty to protect the king. I will never allow anyone to threaten the king's safety, and any threat will be eliminated. Come then. Allan hooked his finger at Yuppie. Yuppie regarded Allan as a thorn in the king's way, so he wanted to eliminate him no matter the cost. With 6 arms, Yuppie started punching Allan with extreme speed. Allan wasn't afraid of the attack at all. Instead, he started dodging right and left without much effort. While dodging, Allan covered his fists in hockey and fought back. Bang! 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 As if he was beating war drums, Allan's fist made a loud noise when it collided with Yuppie. How is this possible? This guy can still dodge and fight back even when I'm in my 6 arms form. Yuppie was in dilemma, as he couldn't fathom how Allan managed to dodge his attacks. Could it be that he can see through all my attacks? Suddenly this idea popped inside his head. Even if he really can see through my attacks, it wouldn't matter if he wasn't strong enough, but he seems relaxed while fighting me in my 6 arms form. Where is the limit of this guy? For Allan, a human being, to be so strong, was quite a shocker to Yuppie. This isn't as simple as seeing through my attacks, he is seeing the future. Perhaps seeing through Yuppie's doubt, Allan said, the future? Yuppie didn't understand what's happening at all. What Allan said almost proved that he can see the future. Allan could see anything he would do in the next second beforehand. Therefore, no matter how fiercely Yuppie attacked, he wouldn't be able to hit Allan, because the latter saw through him a second earlier. If Yuppie was a monster amongst chimera ants, then Allan is a monster amongst humans. Wow! Amazing! Seeing Allan dodging and fighting back against the fierce 6-armed monster, Kite and the others were in awe. Using the top-level observation hockey, Allan could predict Yuppie's attacks and also counterattack at the same time. Bang! 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 A series of punches rained upon Yuppie as he couldn't resist at all. Allan used Wolf Fang Fist while punching Yuppie, which is a fast and fierce punching style used by Yamcha from Dragon Ball. It was like a pack of wolves were fiercely beating Yuppie, who couldn't resist at all. Those blows caused Yuppie to fly in the air, which made all the witnesses stunned. That's too strong, he knocked that monster in the air. That monster isn't Allan's opponent at all. This is great. Allan's power was beyond their imagination. After sending Yuppie in the air, Allan didn't take advantage of the situation but stood in place instead. Using physical strength to fight against a monster like Yuppie consumes a lot of power. After all, Allan is a human being, while Yuppie is a magical beast. It seems that I will have to use other abilities to kill this guy, Allan thought. Even though he sent Yuppie flying, he knew that he couldn't kill him with just this. Because that monster is a hybrid, whether it was stamina, endurance, or resilience, he was far superior to a human. Therefore, he needed other means to kill him. Besides, if he drags this fight for too long, it will be hard for him to fight against the king along with the other two, he won't survive that fight. Therefore, he needed to kill Yuppie before the king is born. Allan directly took Shusui out. Allan didn't use his ice fruit, because it can only restrict Yuppie's movement, but not kill him. Therefore, Allan will use Shusui. With Shusui in his hand, Allan's aura became as sharp as a sword. This guy. Yuppie raised his face gloomily as he could feel the pressure from Allan. Kite, Morel, and the others were surprised as well. What's wrong with that guy? Does he know swordsmanship? It seems like he is a master from the pressure he is releasing. The extermination team became numb to the shocks that Allan brought and could only sigh. They had no way to know that guy's limit. But one thing is for sure, He is stronger than any of them thought he could be. Yuppie, I will kill you quickly with this sword, be prepared. Allan raised Shusui in his hand as he gave Yuppie a warning with a cold expression. Yuppie gave a cold snort to Allan's warning. As a king's guard, Yuppie will never let himself be defeated by a human. You are a mere human, don't get arrogant. Suddenly, Yuppie rushed at Allan. Allan snorted and waved Shusui. A huge deep blue flying slash rushed straight toward Yuppie. Allan used 80% of his power in this slash. Yuppie's eyes widened as he felt the terrifying force behind the slash. If he doesn't avoid it, even with his superior physique, he wouldn't survive. It was too late to avoid though, as the flying slash swallowed Yuppie. He could only place his 6 arms in front of him to resist this slash. Boom. 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 The incredibly powerful slash pushed Yuppie back without stopping. Yuppie roared as he tried to send the flying slash into the sky, and he succeeded. The huge slash bounced straight toward the sky, splitting the clouds on its way. The sky became clear without any clouds all of a sudden. So strong. Morel looked at the clear sky in awe. Such strength isn't something any of them could reach. Just as Yuppie redirected the slash, and before he could take a breath, he saw someone rushing at him. Allan didn't let this opportunity go, as he lifted Shusui in his hand and once again, slashed. What? Yuppie sensed imminent death at this moment, but it was too late to get away. He once again placed his arms in front of him to block Allan's sword. But this time, the light passed through his hands, cutting them directly. Purple blood dripped down on the ground as Yuppie lost his arms. After the successful attack, Allan moved away from his opponent without taking advantage of him. Although he failed to kill Yuppie, he took his hands and caused a serious injury. Yuppie scrunched his face due to the pain as he looked at the sky and roared in anger. Damn you human, how dare you cut my arms off? Glancing at Allan, Yuppie is going berserk right now. His aura erupted like a volcano as he turned into an irrational beast. Come. Allan was afraid and shook his shoulder lightly while holding Shusui. Yuppie's wound stopped bleeding quickly due to his magical beast's blood. Immediately after his bleeding stopped, his body once again changed. Anyone looking at this would get cold feet. Large eyeballs appeared all over his body, granting him 360 degrees vision without a blind spot. This is Yuppie's second change. The transformation of Yuppie was simply terrifying in the eyes of the extermination team except for Allan. In Morel's opinion, Yuppie was many times stronger than he was, or anyone here. Even Allan, who was fighting, didn't seem to be as strong as Yuppie. But that's only when comparing the nen they had, and even though Allan's nen was half of Yuppie's, he wasn't afraid at all, because having more nen doesn't mean being stronger. What's more, Allan is a swordsman with great skills. 1 sword style, tiger slash. Allan waved his sword, and an angry tiger roared. A tiger formed from the sword's energy, fiercely pouncing on Yuppie. Ha! Yuppie shouted angrily and held the tiger with both hands, then smashed it apart. Okay, try this then. 1 sword style, wolf's pack. Allan once again waved his sword, transforming the energy slash into a pack of wolves that surrounded Yuppie. Yuppie's second form was indeed stronger than the first, as normal attacks no longer had any effect on him. It's difficult to break through his defense using flying slashes now. In that case, I can only fight in melee, Allan thought as he instantly appeared in front of Yuppie. Although he was extremely fast, Yuppie could still keep up. Facing Shusui's strike, Yuppie transformed his arm into a double-edged sword and stuck back. However, Allan's swordsmanship was far superior to Yuppie. No, it should be said that Yuppie didn't have any swordsmanship to speak of. So, in terms of swordsmanship, Allan can crush Yuppie easily. Therefore, after a dozen rounds, Allan broke through Yuppie's defense and slashed. Yuppie let out a painful howl as a long wound appeared on the latter's body. In just a few seconds, Allan released a torrent of slashes chopping Yuppie into 100 pieces. In the battle, A moment of negligence can result in defeat, and Allan successfully grasped that opportunity. However, Allan didn't stop, because he knew that UP can still recover from that. If he doesn't completely wipe out his body, even if he was chopped into pieces, he can still recover. Allan directly used his ice fruit and froze each piece of UP. With each piece frozen, even if UP can normally recover from his current condition, he won't be able to do anything now. In other words, he is dead, and even the Ant King won't be able to save him. Ding! You successfully defeated UP, and you received your reward, Rumble fruit. In the next second, Allan received the Rumble fruit. It is a fruit as strong as the ice fruit, which can be said to be a fruit a cut above the rest. The one who eats it will be able to produce lightning and electric current and be immune to physical attacks like any Logia. At the same time, the user can move at lightning speed, and increase their range of observation hockey using an electromagnetic field. The user can even have a glimpse of other people's thoughts. And even after being defeated or killed, anyone with the Rumble fruit can use the fruit's ability to shock their hearts to come back to life. The power generated by the fruit can even be used to power a spacecraft and robots and various machinery, which is equivalent to an inexhaustible power source. Considering the power of the Rumble fruit, Allan ate it without hesitation. Although he had the ice fruit, it didn't prevent him from eating another one. Although most people can only take one devil fruit, Allan was confident that he can take another. After eating it, Allan felt his stomach rumble and his body seemed to be torn apart as he felt unbearable pain. In the distance, Kite and the other saw Allan's slain UP and were still surprised, but Allan suddenly fell to the ground in pain. If an ordinary person ate a second devil fruit, his body will have a repulsive effect and at worst his body will explode. Right now, Allan's body was repelling the Rumble fruit, or more like the ice fruit is trying to purge the Rumble fruit from Allan's body. If Allan can persist past this, he will be able to use both fruits at the same time. But this requires quite a strong body and unhuman willpower. What do we do? He looks in pain. Seeing Allan falling to the ground in pain, Gel was anxious while the others were worried as well. Allan alone could kill a monster like UP, and his contribution in this event was the greatest. When he is being tortured like this, like his comrades, they felt uncomfortable seeing him like this. If they can, they would rather take the pain themselves. However, Allan wasn't injured as they thought, but it was just the result of his recklessness. No, he passed out, Mankey shouted. He will be fine, right? Knuckles said. Kite looked at Allan and said, it should only be temporary. What do we do now? Mankey asked. Let's take Allan out of here first, Kite said. What about the Ant King? Although a monster is dealt with, the Ant King is still out there. Morel asked a crucial question. For a moment, everyone fell silent. Kite pondered for a while and said, ignore the Ant King, for now, let's take Allan back and talk. But what about the Ant King? If we leave it alone, there will be problems. Knuckles and Shoot said in concern. Kite said seriously, we all saw Allan fighting that monster just now. With our strength, is it possible to fight such a monster? No, we won't stand a chance. Furthermore, the Ant King is stronger than that monster and we are even less likely to be his opponents. The only person who can fight against the king is Allan, who is currently unconscious. If the Ant King finds out about this, do you think we will survive? All we can do is rely on Allan. As for Chairman Netero, he is still getting ready for the fight and can't help. So we can only take Allan away and wait for him to wake up. Hearing this, and after weighing the pros and cons, Morel and the others agreed to Kite's proposal. Morel then said, let's use Nov's four-dimensional mansion to get out of here. Right now, Kite picked Allan and left the mountain along with the others. When they reached the foot of the mountain, they rejoined Nov and Buara. After Morel briefly explained the situation to Nov, the latter opened the four-dimensional mansion and arranged a way out of the NGL. As a result, the extermination team left the NGL one after the other and returned to the outside world. At this time, Poof, the last remaining king's guard, came to the top of the mountain where Allan and Yuppie fought and saw Yuppie's remain and roared to the sky. "My king, you must avenge Pedo and Yuppie." Poof returned to the cave waiting for the birth of his king while grieving losing his companions. After a few hours, the king finally emerges from the queen's belly. "My king, you're finally coming out." Poof knelt on the ground to salute the Ant King. The king indifferently looked at Poof, who was kneeling, and said in a deep voice, "I'm hungry, do you have something to eat?" "Yes, we prepared a lot of food for my king." With that said, Poof took out a bunch of meatballs. These meatballs were made of human flesh and blood, which is the favorite food of the chimera ants. However, as soon as the king took a bite, he spat it out. Poof quickly asked, "What's wrong, my king? Are they not to your liking?" The Ant King replied coldly, "Although the taste is acceptable, it's not fresh." This subordinate understands. "However, your majesty, there is currently no fresh food. All humans escaped or were killed by us," Poof explained. "Then, leave this place and go where there are humans." The Ant King's voice was cold as he said with an unquestionable tone. Poof immediately replied, "My king, your subordinate will take you out to where the humans live." "Let's go then," the Ant King said. "By the way, your majesty, what about the queen?" "Don't worry about her, she is useless now, let her fend for herself." Although Poof felt that the king was a bit cruel, he couldn't refute his words. At this moment, Poof could only say goodbye to the queen and bring the king out. They moved toward the closest human settlement in the area. Although the extermination team left, their traces remained. "It seems some powerful guys have come here," the Ant King said seriously. "Yes, we originally occupied this entire place and used the villages as food. However, one day, a group of powerful humans came and wiped out a large number of us and even destroyed our base. In the end, only your majesty and your loyal guard were left. The others were all killed," Poof said with grief. The Ant King stayed silent after hearing this. A day later, Poof was flying away from the NGL along with his king. They crossed the borders and came to a close human settlement. Rosario was a small country bordering the NGL with a population of 5 million. Poof said, "My king, the area ahead is full of humans, should we go down?" The Ant King thought for a bit, then said, "Let's just go to the leader of this place directly. I will create a base here, and the first thing we should do is destroy their commander." "Yes," Poof replied. After half an hour, they arrived at the capital and lanced outside the palace. "Who are you?" The guards patrolling the palace soon discovered the strange creatures. From outside, Poof looked almost human except for his wings. But the king was different, he looked nothing like a human. "Stop for me, if you don't, we will shoot." Facing the guards' warning, Poof and the Ant King continued forward as if they heard nothing. "Fire!" The captain gave orders and the other guards immediately pulled the trigger. One after the other, they launched a fierce attack on Poof and the Ant King. Ordinary people would have turned into sieves with the number of bullets shot, but Poof and the Ant King didn't mind the bullets since they did nothing. Is this the power of the humans' technology? It's not that good. That's because you're strong, my king. If others were hit, they would have died. Poof flattered. In an instant, the guards died under the king's hand. "My king, they are all fresh meat." "No, I feel that there is a stronger life energy in the palace, that's what I need." After saying this, the Ant King walked into the palace. Poof could guess that the people with a stronger life force that the king was talking about were the Nen users. On the way to the palace, the guards were eliminated one after the other by the king. They couldn't even hinder him for a second. When they reached their destination, a strong man appeared in front of them. "You dare come here and cause a ruckus, you're looking for death." "My king, this guy's life energy is strong." "I can see that," the Ant King said. The man was the strongest bodyguard in the palace. "Bring it on!" the man shouted as he punched the Ant King. However, His fist was easily blocked by the Ant King. Too weak. The king swept his tail and cut off the man's hand before he ate it. After eating the hand, his strength increased. It was the king's innate ability. He gets stronger when eating life energy. After the Ant King finished his meal, he killed the leader of the country. On the other hand, Poof was busy preparing food for his king, which consisted of 50 people each day. 10 days passed after that. The Ant King was getting stronger day by day due to his ability. Poof, beside you, what happened to the other guards? The Ant King suddenly asked. My king, the queen made a total of 3 guards. Besides me, there are another 2 called Neferpitou and Menthethuyupi. However, the humans killed them before my king was born. How strong were they? Stronger than me. My specialty isn't fighting, but supporting. 2 guards stronger than you were killed by the humans? Yes. Are the humans so strong? These days, the Ant King saw many humans, but there is no one of them that was strong. Faced with the king's doubt, Poof explained, amongst the humans, there is a special kind called Nen-users. They have strong life energy and various abilities. The guy who killed Neferpitou and Menthethuyupi was very strong, and most likely, the same person killed both. Hearing this, the king started thinking, and after a while, he said, I really want to fight against that human. I want to see how strong this human is. My king, I guess he will come here when he knows we are here. Why are you so sure? The Ant King asked. Because humans are repulsive to the chimera ants, they don't want other creatures to appear on their land, so they want to destroy us, Poof said. So that's the case, the same with us, as we want to wipe them out when we see them. So, my king, do I let the outside world know we are here? Poof asked. No, they will find us sooner or later anyway. When they come, I will eat them all, said the Ant King. The Ant King suddenly remembered something and asked, beside the guards, are there other chimera ants? Basically, when we were in the NGL, the humans wiped the others out. Most of the rest should have escaped. Poof guessed. We don't have enough manpower now. If we can, we will find those who escaped, said the Ant King. My king, since they ran away in the first place, it means they aren't trustful and fear death. Do we need to find those guys? Poof asked. After all, we are short of manpower now, and the queen is useless. We can only find those former subordinates, said the Ant King. Well, then, I will go look for them, my king. If they won't come back and defy your orders, I will kill them, Poof said. Well, go then. I will be waiting for your good news here. The Ant King said. Somewhere in the south, in a country well known for the many tourists it has, a small number of people came here through smuggling or other illegal means. Is that a koala? So cute, that koala is so cute. In a part, a koala was standing on its feet, and dressed like a gentleman, wearing a suit with a tie and a hat. Many tourists gather around as they took pictures of the koala with their phones. The koala, who was being watched by the tourists, didn't seem disgusted by the humans. Suddenly, the koala's stomach made a sound and he said, I'm hungry. The onlookers suddenly let out as they looked at the koala in surprise. Wow, it actually spoke? I heard it as well. He said he was hungry. It's so interesting, it can even speak our language. Is this really a koala? Isn't he a human dressing like one? The tourists were surprised by the talking koala. To be precise, I'm not a koala, because I have human genes as well. The koala explained. All tourists who heard this were amazed. Could it be that some lab experimented on the koala? Did they combine the human gene with the koala which resulted in this? One of the tourists said. That's an interesting speculation, but I wasn't made by a scientist, but I'm a creature who lives in this world like you, just a different race, koala replied. Where did you come from? A male tourist asked curiously. The koala stayed silent as he gave his answer a thought. But he didn't reply in the end. He is a chimera ant, from the NGL. Since the nest was destroyed, it left the NGL. Then after some time, he came to this place. Do you have a name? A female tourist asked. A name? The koala thought for a while then replied, everyone calls me Small Bear. Small Bear, a simple and straightforward name. The tourist quickly accepted the name. A female tourist asked, Small Bear, are you hungry? Yes, I'm hungry. Small Bear nodded. Since leaving the NGL, he didn't eat anything. The main diet of the Chimera ants were the humans, and since they ate too many humans in the NGL, the Hunter Association found about it and their base was destroyed in the end. After escaping from the NGL, Small Bear didn't target the humans. Small Bear wasn't like the other ants, his IQ was as high as a human, so it knew that there must be other food for it. So, he tried to integrate into this place and abandoned his identity as a Chimera ant. Small Bear, here is some bread, you can eat it. Thank you, beautiful lady. Took the bread from the female and ate it with relish. When the tourists saw this, they found it interesting and started giving Small Bear more food. For example, they gave him milk, fruits, sweets, and even sausages. Small Bear harvesting a lot of food, although it was the first time he ate them, and they weren't suitable for his taste, he didn't refuse the tourists' kindness. At the start, the food wasn't to his liking, but after some time, he adapted. Snacks are really delicious, for example, the bread with mild is very good. There are also the chocolates, which are sweet and delicious. Small Bear sighed. Small Bear, I finally found you. After leaving the park, Small Bear encountered someone unexpected. It was Poof. Master Poof, what can I do for you? Small Bear was surprised, but he still asked calmly. Small Bear, the Ant King is born, now the king needs manpower, so you come back with me to assist the king, Poof said directly. He didn't want to waste his king's time after all. In the headquarters of the Hunter Association, after half a month in a coma, Allan finally woke up. Where am I? Looking at the unfamiliar room he was in, Allan scratched his head in confusion. You're in the headquarters of the Hunter Association. Kite, who was beside Allan's bed, said. Why am I here? Allan asked. Did you forget? Kite said. Allan thought for a while before recalling that he ate the rumble fruit and felt pain all over his body before everything went black. How long was I unconscious? Allan asked. Half a month. Kite replied. So long? Allan was taken aback. He didn't think it would take so much time. How are you feeling right now? Kite inquired. Don't worry, I'm totally fine, Allan laughed. He didn't lie as he felt that his body wasn't abnormal. Not only that, but he felt the power of the rumble fruit as well. It seems that after half a month, my body finally merged with the rumble fruit. Now, I should be able to use both fruits. Allan guessed. By the way, what's the current situation of the Chimera ants? Allan asked. Since you blacked out, we retreated from the NGL, and it's been half a month since we were there. Kite explained. Is that so? Allan frowned. However, although we didn't go back, the vice chairman, Pariston, sent an investigation team to the NGL a week ago, Kite said. How's the situation? Allan asked curiously. According to the investigation team, there are no traces of the Chimera ants in the NGL, Kite said. What about the Ant King? Allan frowned. The king probably left the NGL and went somewhere else, Kite said gloomily. Hearing this, Allan started thinking before he asked, where do you think the Ant King will go? I think he will go to a place with a few people, Kite said. That's not totally true, Allan said. What do you mean? Kite was puzzled. Allan explained, the king will probably go to a place where there are many humans because Chimera ants like to eat humans the most, which means the king will be in a place where there are many humans. Furthermore, the Ant King was just born, and all of his subordinates are wiped out, so he won't go somewhere where there are many people or he would risk being discovered by us. Hearing this, Kite said, in other words, the king will go somewhere with a few humans and relatively closed on itself, right? Allan nodded. Well, it should be. If we follow this clue, We should be able to find his whereabouts right now, Kite said. Then hurry up and organize a team to investigate. If we don't find the Ant King quickly, he will get stronger and it will be troublesome, Allan said. He knew about the king's ability to grow stronger the more he ate. If they don't find him quickly, even Allan won't be able to deal with him. As for Chairman Netero, Allan, who've seen the original story, knew that Netero wasn't the Ant King's opponent. If Netero uses the poor man's rose and brings the Ant King with him, it would be impossible to kill him at that time. By the way, what about the chairman? Allan asked. He has been in seclusion somewhere. He is also waiting for the news about the Ant King, Kite said. Well, I'll talk to him when I have time, Allan said. Okay, you stay here. For the time being, I will organize a new investigation team as soon as possible and try to find the Ant King's whereabouts within 10 days, Kite said. No, 10 days is too long. We should find him in 5 days at most. The sooner the better, Allan said. Okay, I understand. After finishing their conversation, Kite left. Allan sighed and walked out of the room. Allan arrived at a forest beside the Hunter Association's building as he wanted to try the power of the Rumble Rumble fruit. Allan raised his hand and pointed at a tree in the distance. Lightning. In the next second, a lightning bolt struck the tree down from the sky, splitting it in half. Too strong, worthy of one of the strongest Logia fruits. Allan once again raised his hand and pointed at the sky. 100 million volt Vari. A thundercloud appeared in the sky, and in the next second, a huge lightning bolt struck down, smashing the ground and messing the forest up. The loud thunder reverberated all the way to the Hunter Association a few kilometers away. Let's try the ice fruit now. Allan put his hand on the ground and in an instant, the ground froze and the temperature dropped below zero. With 2 of the strongest Logia fruit, Allan's power reached a new height. After testing his power, Allan said, with this power, there shouldn't be any problem when I face the Ant King. After all, no matter how powerful his body is, it can't defend against lightning. As for speed, the speed of lightning should be faster than the Ant King. Unless the Ant King is as fast as light, he can't be faster than Allan. Of course, Allan wasn't proficient with his new power, so it will take a while to completely adapt. On the other side, Poof left the king's side by his order to look for the scattered chimera ants. He used his power to disperse into hundreds of copies and scattered in all directions. The effort paid off as it found one of the squadron leaders enjoying his life in a village. The one he found is Cheetah, the leopard who refused Poof's proposal to go and assist the Ant King. Give up, I finally escaped the NGL, how could I go back there? If I go, I will be killed by those humans. You don't know how terrible they are, Cheetah said. Then, you're not afraid of the Ant King's punishment? Poof asked. I'm not afraid, the Ant King is not here, moreover, even if he was, I'm not afraid of him, Cheetah replied. If you don't go back, I will kill you here, Poof threatened. You don't have the ability, you're only a clone, it's impossible to kill me with the clone, Cheetah said arrogantly without fear. You are underestimating me. Poof snorted coldly. I'm too lazy to fight you, you can go if you have the ability, then catch me. If you catch me, I will go back and help the Ant King. Seeing that Poof was going to attack, Cheetah said. Well, keep your words then, Poof said. Come then, try and catch me. Cheetah was confident in his speed. He didn't believe that Poof will be able to catch him. However, this time, he made a mistake, as Poof was actually faster than him. After running for a day and night, Cheetah finally lost and Poof caught him. Damn it, that guy is persistent, Cheetah said in disbelief. Humph, for the sake of the Ant King, I don't have a problem in lying my life, let alone outperform you, Poof said. In fact, Poof tried his best, he ran after Cheetah with all of his power to catch him. According to our agreement, you have to go back with me and help the Ant King, Poof said. Okay, I'll go back with you. I'm really unlucky, Cheetah sighed. Humph, don't spout nonsense, let's go. Poof wanted to return to the Ant King as soon as possible. Cheetah said, "After I go back, the Ant King won't kill me? After all, I'm a deserter." "No, the Ant King is short on manpower right now, so he won't kill you," Poof said. "Okay then," Cheetah sighed in relief. "By the way, other than me, who else is there?" Cheetah asked. "I'm looking for the others now," Poof said. Hearing this, Small Bear said seriously, "Master Poof, please allow me to refuse your request. I don't want to go back and assist the Ant King." "What are you talking about?" Poof could hardly believe what he was hearing. "Amongst the squadron leaders, I know you are very loyal. Now you actually rejected me. This is the king's order. Aren't you afraid of the king's punishment?" "If the Ant King is going to kill me, I will not run away," Small Bear said. "Aren't you afraid of death?" Poof asked. "I'm afraid of death," Small Bear continued, "but I feel free right now. I don't want to go back and kill many people. Those days are in the past." Poof said angrily, "Are you serious?" "Yes, I have decided to let go of my identity as a chimera ant," Small Bear said indifferently. "You want to abandon your identity?" Poof's eyes widened. "Master Poof, I decided to live peacefully in this world," Small Bear said seriously. "That's why I need to abandon my identity as a chimera ant and join a human family." "You traitor!" Poof gritted his teeth angrily. He didn't expect that one of the most loyal subordinates would actually abandon their race. "Whatever you say, I have decided to integrate with the human society, and I will never kill people again, let alone feed on humans," Small Bear said firmly. "Bastard! You traitor!" Poof wanted to kill Small Bear, but he split many times and this clone wasn't strong enough to kill him. He could only let Small Bear go temporarily as he shouted, "Wait until the king rule the world and you will feel stupid for today's choice." Small Bear stared at Poof moving away and sighed. Although he completely offended the Ant King and Poof, he didn't regret it. Because after coming to the human world, he realized that he longed for such a peaceful life. This may be related to the human gene he had or the memories of being human. In an elegant restaurant, 3 uninvited guests were eating. The leader of this small group was a guy that looked like a lion. He is one of the squadron leaders of the Chimera Ants. His name is Leo. After escaping from the NGL, he came here and changed his name to Leo. The other 2 with him were his loyal subordinates. They were the army commanders amongst the Chimera Ants. After leaving the NGL, the 3 of them came here, but they didn't cause trouble since they didn't want the attention. So, for the time being, they constrained their animosity toward the humans and integrated into their society. Their original food source was the humans, but they were trying the food made by the humans. When they tasted the food made by the humans, they couldn't help feeling that it was really delicious. Especially the grilled meat, they quite liked it. They liked it even more than humans. The whole restaurant was dumbfounded by the amount the 3 of them ate. "Master Leo, I'm so full," Hina said with a hiccup. "Well, the food made by the humans is indeed very good, I'm very satisfied," Leo said. "Master Leo, let's go, these humans seem very surprised that we ate so much. Being watched is unpleasant," the 3rd ant, the Dragonfly Man, said. "Well, let's go somewhere else," Leo said. If they were in the NGL, they would have killed these humans a long time ago, but because it was the territory of the humans, they didn't dare do anything. However, when the 3 of them were about to walk out, the manager stopped them. "Wait, the 3 of you, you've eaten so much and haven't paid yet." "Pay?" Leo had a big question mark above his head. "Master Leo, I heard that you need to pay to eat in the human society, otherwise, you will be regarded as stealing food and will be arrested." "I see." Leo nodded as if he realized something. "Then, Master Leo, are we going to pay them?" Hina asked. "Idiot, where will we find the money? Besides, do we need to pay humans for a meal?" Leo said angrily. The restaurant manager's face became gloomy. "Your meal amount to a total of 1.03 million jenny, you literally wiped the restaurant clean." So are you going to pay with cash or credit card? I don't have any money, so let us go or I will kill you, Leo threatened. However, the restaurant manager didn't fear Leo and coldly snorted, "You want to dine and dash, it won't be easy, guards, catch the three of them." Several security guards rushed forward to catch the three of them. "You're looking to die," Leo angrily roared as he raised his claws and knocked out all the guards in one move. The manager was shocked by this. "You want to escape? It's not that easy." Leo sneered and grabbed the manager, then he threw him 10 meters up only to fall to his death. "Let's go, I don't think that there are other fools who will block our way." After resolving the trouble, Leo waved his hand and left with Hina and the dragonfly ant. "Master Leo, this is the territory of the humans, let's leave quickly, otherwise, we will be hunted by them." As they went out of the restaurant, the dragonfly ant suggested. Leo nodded, "That makes sense, let's go then." At this moment, someone blocked the way of the three. "You are, Master Poof?" Seeing the one blocking their way, Leo was surprised. "Yes, that's me," Poof confirmed. "Why did you become so small?" Leo asked. Poof was less than 10 centimeters in size. "This is just one of my clones," Poof said. This is one of Poof's abilities, he can split his body into countless smaller parts. Each one can move freely, but the overall strength is too weak. "So, Master Poof, what can I do for you?" Leo said respectfully since the other party was higher ranked than him. "The Ant King was born, and now we are short on manpower, so I need you to go back and assist our king," Poof said straight to the point. Leo didn't immediately agree when he heard this. Poof noticed this and said, "Don't think about it, you can't live in the territory of the humans just because of your appearance. Before long, you will be discovered by them and they will hunt you down. The Ant King is very strong, and he will surely lead us to the rule of the world." Leo pondered for a while before he nodded, "Okay, I will go back with you, but I have one condition." "What condition?" Poof asked with a frown. The other party dared to lay terms for his return. If it wasn't for the lack of manpower, he wouldn't bother talking things out with him. "It's very simple, we want to be free, and not listen to anyone's command except for the Ant King's," Leo said. Poof thought for a while then nodded, "Okay, as long as you obey the king, there is no problem at all." Poof directly led Leo and his subordinates to the Ant King. Poof's clones convinced several squadron leaders and captains to return and serve the Ant King. In less than 10 days, Poof found 4 squadron leaders and 6 captains. Although the king looked at the other ants in disdain, he didn't punish them for running away, because there are only a few of them right now. Therefore, the king gave Poof another order, which is to find the queen they abandoned before in the NGL and bring her back to produce more chimera ants. The king gave the 4 squadron leaders and 6 captains orders to bring all the people of this place to him. On the other side, Kite sent an investigation team to find the Ant King. 2 days later, Allan was invited by Beans, the personal secretary of Netero, to the Hunter Association and met Netero there. This is the second time Allan was invited by Netero. The first time was when he took his hunter license and became a professional hunter. That was the time when Allan fought against Netero. After entering Netero's office, Beans said, "Mr. Allan, the chairman is having a meeting with the 12 zodiacs, please wait here for a while." Allan nodded and sat casually, with his legs crossed. With his current power, only a few people can match him, even in the Hunter Association. He is willingly waiting because he respected Netero, nothing else. "Mr. Allan, do you want a drink? Coffee, juice?" Beans asked. "Juice," Allan said. "Okay, please wait a moment." Beans went to pour a cup of juice to Allan while the latter stood up and went beside Netero's desk as he was curious about what kind of work the chairman had. Allan opened the desk drawer and flipped through it, and a picture caught his eyes. It was a picture of a middle-aged man with a woman. It looked very ordinary. But he felt something familiar in the photo. The man in the picture was Netero himself, and Allan could guess that the woman was either Netero's wife or close friend. In short, it was someone who has a close relationship with Netero. As a transmigrator, Allan naturally knew that Netero had an illegitimate child who isn't known in public. Allan boldly guessed that Netero's child, beyond Netero, is also the child of that woman. After a while, Allan put the picture back and returned to the sofa. At this time, Beans returned and said, "Mr. Allan, here is your juice." "Thanks." Allan waited another 10 minutes and finally, Netero finished his meeting with the 12 zodiacs. "Allan, sorry for making you wait for so long." Netero apologized. "If you were a little bit later, I would have left," Allan said. Netero smiled. "Do you know why I invited you?" Allan shrugged. "Isn't this about killing the chimera ants?" "Yes." Netero nodded. "Except, the few fishes that slipped through the net, such as the Ant King, all the chimera ants were wiped out," Allan said. "Yes, thank you. I invited you here today to thank you in person as the chairman of the Hunter Association," Netero explained. According to the report submitted by Kite, Morel, and the others, Netero learned that Allan performed the best out of the extermination team and almost wiped all the chimera ants. "Oh? Thank me? It's not a verbal thanks, is it? Are there any prizes?" Allan asked with interest. Netero smiled. "Of course there are prizes." "Oh, what is it?" Allan asked. Netero said, "You contributed the most in the extermination team and for that, I decided that you will be promoted to a 2-star extermination hunter." "Extermination hunter?" Allan froze for a moment as he didn't expect this kind of reward. Netero took a medal with the insignia of the Hunter Association along with 2 shiny stars in it. The 2 stars represent the honor of being a 2-star hunter. Allan directly wore the medal without any hesitation. He jumped from an ordinary hunter to a 2-star hunter in one mission. The top in the Hunter Association was Triple Stars Hunter and only 3 were known. Although a 2 stars hunter isn't as good as a triple one, it is already great to receive such a reward in one mission. At your age, you are the youngest 2-star hunter since the founding of the association, Netero said. The youngest 2-star hunter? Allan smiled. With your potential, there is a chance that you will be a triple-star hunter in the future. Netero looked at Allan with appreciation. So, if I kill the Ant King, and destroy the Chimera Ants, can I become a triple-star hunter? Allan asked. Well, in theory, yes, but in reality, it's very difficult to achieve, Netero said. Anyway, there is a chance, right? Allan asked. Netero nodded. Well, if you can kill the Ant King, of course, your contribution will be great and will make you eligible to become a triple-star hunter. That's fine then, I will give you a hand and deal with the Ant King then, Allan promised. Netero facepalmed and said, I will deal with the Ant King myself, that's why I've been preparing for more than a month now. Allan had naturally heard about Netero's challenge to the Ant King, however, when Netero said it himself, Allan couldn't help wiping his forehead with a smile. What's wrong? Seeing Allan's smile, Netero asked in confusion. Chairman, do you really want to challenge the Ant King alone? Allan asked. Netero didn't deny it and nodded. This old man did have such a thought. For that, I've been preparing myself for the past month. Even though I didn't regain 100% of my power, I'm about 80% now. Allan said, in other words, Chairman is confident in his own power, right? It shouldn't be a problem to defeat the Ant King, Netero said. After a moment of silence, Allan said, Chairman, there is something I don't know if I should say or not. Speak, don't hold back, Netero said. Actually, I think you can't defeat the Ant King by yourself, Chairman, Allan said. Hearing this, Netero stayed silent for a bit then said, interesting, maybe you're right. Well, Chairman, can I trouble you to release your nen and show me? Allan said seriously. Okay, I will show you. With that, Netero released his nen. At the start, it was slowly gushing out, but in the end, his nen seemed to turn solid. Allan could feel the amazing life energy emanating from Netero's body, just like a towering tree that withstood all natural disasters. How is it? Netero asked. Chairman, your nen is quite strong and it seems tempered thousands of times, but... When Allan said but, Netero immediately asked, but what? Compared to the Ant King, Chairman's nen is way weaker, Allan said his thoughts. Hearing this, Netero thought for a bit then looked at Allan and asked, have you met the Ant King? Never seen him. Then why are you so sure that the Ant King is stronger than me? Netero was confused. It's probably my instinct. Allan could only say this. Instinct? Netero was taken aback for a moment, as he didn't think Allan would say that. Obviously, Netero didn't believe this, but seeing Allan not saying anything else, he didn't ask further. After a bit, Netero said, even if I can't beat the Ant King, I still have the 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva, you've seen it before. Allan said, the 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva is strong, but it won't work against the Ant King. As a transmigrator, Allan has seen Netero's fight against the Ant King. The defense of the Ant King's body was too strong for Netero to penetrate. Even Netero's 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva can't cause much damage to the Ant King. That's why he was sure that Netero won't be able to defeat the Ant King. Netero said, this old man is quite confident in his 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva. If even the 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva can't beat the Ant King, then the entire human race will be threatened. So, suppose if Chairman can't defeat the Ant King and was defeated by him, what will you do? Allan pointed at the core of the problem. Netero stayed silent for a moment and sighed, we can only die together then. Die together? Well, we will use the power technology, Netero explained. Technology? Do you mean poor man's rose? Allan asked. Oh? You actually know about it? Netero glanced at Allan in surprise. Allan gave him more mysteries the longer they spoke. Allan smiled slightly, I know a little about the poor man's rose. It is said to be a very powerful weapon and its effective range is tens of kilometers with strong radiations. Once someone is affected, they can't live for long. Hearing this, Netero was surprised. You actually know so much about it. So, Chairman, do you plan on bringing the poor man's rose to fight the Ant King? Allan asked. Well, if I can't defeat him, I can only use it, or else, the entire human race will be in danger, Netero said with a righteous expression. The chairman is indeed noble, Allan admired. Do you think the poor man's rose can kill the Ant King? Netero suddenly asked. Well, of course. No matter how strong the Ant King is, it's impossible for him to be immune to the toxicity of the bomb. Once he is affected, his fate will be death by the radiations. Netero nodded seriously, well, the poor man's rose is very scary. If it wasn't necessary, I would prefer not to use it. But after listening to you, it seems necessary. Seeing Netero was taking the risk in bringing the poor man's rose, Allan said, Chairman, I suggest that don't bring the poor man's rose. Why? Netero was puzzled. Because you will surely die using it, Allan said with a serious face. Netero stroked his goatee and laughed, since I decided to single-handedly challenge the Ant King, I was prepared to die. It's my lifelong wish to fight against someone that strong. If I really can't beat him, I can only rely on the poor man's rose. Chairman, I have a suggestion, Allan said. Please speak, Netero said. At that time, if Kite and the other find the Ant King's position, allow me to walk with you, Allan said. Netero hesitated for a bit. After all, he decided to face the Ant King alone. Seeing Netero's expression, Allan said, in case the chairman can't defeat the Ant King, then I will face him. Chairman doesn't need to use the poor man's rose and die with the Ant King, I will deal with him myself if that happens. Hearing this, Netero looked at Allan for a bit then said, I know you're strong, Allan, but do you think you're stronger than me? If even I can't defeat the Ant King, I'm afraid you won't be able to do it as well. Allan shrugged and smiled, I think that currently, I'm stronger than the current chairman. Oh? Really? Seeing Allan's confidence, Netero couldn't ignore Allan's words. "Since you think you surpassed me, how about we have a spar? Let's see who is stronger." Hearing Netero's suggestion, Allan was about to respond, but the system interrupted him. Ding. Make a choice. 1. Refuse Netero's challenge. Reward, 3,000 nen. 2. Accept Netero's challenge and defeat him. Reward, Mato, one of the 12 supreme grade swords, Yoru. The Black Blade Yoru? Allan's eyes lit up. He instantly picked the second option and immediately agreed to Netero's challenge. This is one of the 12 supreme swords we're talking about, and it is a sword wielded by the strongest swordsman in One Piece. It's in a different league compared to Shusui. If he get this sword and with his swordsmanship, he wouldn't be weaker than Mihawk himself. And if he used that sword to deal with the Ant King, no matter how strong the latter's body was, it can't ignore the damage from Yoru. Allan stopped his train of thoughts and said to Netero, "Chairman, let's go, I will definitively defeat you." Netero laughed. It's really scary to be a confident youth. The two walked to the forest away from the association building. "What a good place to fight," Allan said. "Well, this is where I practice usually," Netero said. "Then, this place may be destroyed later," Allan said. "Let go. Then I will use the most basic skills to spar with the chairman. Although I am old, my body is still strong, you know," Netero said. "I'm going first, be careful, chairman." Soon, Allan seemed to teleport and arrive before Netero with a punch. Allan didn't use armament hockey in his punch but instead used Tekai from the 6 techniques of the Marine. 1. Although it wasn't strong as armament hockey, it can't be underestimated. Netero used his nen to improve his body's offense and defense and fought with Allan. Bang! 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 In the forest, two figures continued to collide against each other. Flash steps. Allan appeared behind Netero quickly and kicked, but Netero reacted in time and turned around blocking Allan's attack. Shigan. 1. Allan immediately used another one of the Rakushiki to harden his index finger and stabbed at Netero. The latter couldn't avoid the attack and could only defend using his palm. Rankyaku. Allan pulled some distance between them and kicked out. A crescent-shaped slash flew toward Netero, who gave a low grunt and punched the slash and shattered it. Allan then went back to close combat once again. Netero became frightened the longer they fought. Allan actually matched him in terms of physical strength. No, he felt that Allan was better than him, whether it's speed or reflex, he was faster. Fortunately, his body had gone through many years of practice, and even with age, he could still have a strong body. As a result, Netero had to admit that Allan was stronger than him in terms of physical skills. "Allan, next, you try this old man's 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva," Netero said. Netero slowly put his hands together and a huge Buddha appeared behind him. The Buddha seemed majestic, exuding golden light. This is the second time Allan saw Netero's 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva, and compared to before, this time it was more solid and impressive. "Come on, chairman." Facing Netero's 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva, Allan wasn't afraid. Seeing Allan's fighting spirit, Netero smiled. In the next second, he made a move. His palms that were together separated and he gently pushed one hand forward. However, Allan saw a fierce huge golden palm blasting toward him. Armament, hardening. Allan clenched his fists which suddenly turned black. It wasn't that he didn't want to avoid the palm from the golden Buddha, but he couldn't. He was shocked to find that his speed was slower than the palm heading his way. Therefore, Allan's only choice was to face it head-on. Allan punched the golden palm with his black fists and the moment they touched, a huge shockwave was generated. The trees in their surrounding was uprooted and flew in the air from the shockwave and the ground under Allan cracked. But Allan still stood firmly without moving back. Netero looked at this in surprise, as he didn't expect Allan to block his 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva with his fists. Although he didn't use all of his power in that palm attack, Allan still managed to block it, which made him the second person in the world to do so. As for the first person, he is an assassin named Mahazoldik. However, it's been many years since their fight. Netero thought that few people in this world could take his 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva head-on, but today, he encountered someone who can match it, and furthermore, this person is very young. At this moment, Netero saw infinite potential in Allan's future. Interesting. Netero launched another attack. The 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva behind him released two palms. Two huge golden palms moved toward Allan to squash him. Allan covered his entire body with armament haki and released his observation haki for better observation. Saru. Allan disappeared from his place as he rushed toward Netero quickly. At the same time, the golden palm's momentum comes from his left and right. Bang! Before he reached Netero's body, Allan was caught between the golden palms. The palms were like two big mountains clasping Allan. Allan felt himself being squashed under between the golden palms, and at this time he said, "Shinro Tensei." A powerful repulsive force erupted from Allan and immediately pushed the palms away. Allan's figure flashed as he used flash steps to move away from Netero. Netero was surprised because Allan was able to repel the palms of the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva. Next, I'm going to get a little bit serious. As soon as Netero finished his words, he waved his hand and the Buddha behind him moved. 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva 99th hand. Suddenly, hundreds of palms flew toward Allan. Allan had no time to react, and the place where he stood was hit hard as if it was bombarded by artillery. Dust flew around, the ground was destroyed, and the trees flew in the air from the shockwaves. The dust dissipated and a huge crater appeared on the ground. Allan, who was in the middle of the pit, seemed quite tattered. Although he used armament haki to defend himself, he still suffered some injuries. As for the elementalization ability of his devil fruits, Netero's attacks negated them as they weren't just physical attacks. This is a rare occasion where Allan got injured. Fortunately, the armament haki protected him very well and he wasn't severely injured. Netero was quite shocked that Allan was still able to stand and without many injuries as well. Since Chairman turned serious, then I will also show my abilities. Oh? Hearing this, Netero felt surprised. Allan hasn't used all of his power just now? He still has more tricks? Out of curiosity, Netero launched another attack. Many palms once again moved toward Allan together. Here I go. An electric arc moved on Allan's body, which belonged to his rumble fruit. Allan knew that Netero's 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva was very fast and had a wide range. If he only relied on his physical skills, he won't be able to avoid them. If he wasn't as fast as the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva, he would just be beaten without any chance to avoid or attack. Therefore, there are two steps to fight Netero's 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva. The first step is to predict the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva's attacks and dodge them in advance. The second step is to surpass the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva's speed. For other people, they might not be able to predict the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva's attacks, but Allan had advanced observation haki, so he can do it. Next, he had to move faster than the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva. Allan also has the ability to do this using his rumble speed to move at the lightning. With that kind of speed, Allan was confident that he wouldn't lose. After turning his body into lightning, Allan's speed improved. At the same time, with his observation haki, he grasped the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva's attacks trajectory and avoided them. Electric light flickered between the palms as every time one of the palms get close to hitting Allan, he would avoid them. Allan's speed surpassed the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva's speed, and with the observation haki, he managed to avoid every attack with no effort. In the forest, Allan moved as fast as lightning as he avoided the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva's attacks. It wasn't an exaggeration as he really reached the speed of lightning. Netero couldn't help the shock as he watched Allan evade all of his attacks. In Netero's eyes, Allan seemed to turn into a ball of lightning, glowing with dazzling blue light. No matter how fierce Netero attacked, Allan could evade his attacks with the combination of speed and observation hockey. My turn. Allan waved his hand and a bolt of lightning struck Netero. Boom. Netero directly used the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva to block the lightning. The blue lightning and the golden palms exploded. 20 million volts, Thunder Dragon. Following Allan's right hand, a dragon-shaped lightning rushed toward Netero. Facing the Thunder Dragon, Netero didn't dare stay still. He immediately folded his arms together, making the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva behind him do the same. In the next second, the Thunder Dragon seemed to crush into a golden barrier. Interesting. Allan's mouth raised in a slight smile as he lifted his hand, generating a lightning pillar toward Netero. Boom. The dazzling lighting and the golden light collided and exploded. This continued for a while, and half an hour later, Netero took the initiative to stop the fight as his 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva disappeared. Haha, this old man lost. Allan didn't expect Netero to concede defeat and was a little surprised. Even though he transformed into lightning, his speed could match Netero's 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva, and even surpass it, but he couldn't beat Netero, because his 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva was almost flawless. Even with his speed, he couldn't break through Netero's defense in a short time. What's more, Netero still has his strongest move, the Zero Hand, which he hadn't used. This shows that Netero still had some reservations in this battle and didn't give his all in this fight. Netero didn't seem to want to use the Zero Hand attack from the start. After all, it was just a spar, it wasn't necessary to go all in as if it was a life and death battle. But, he won since Netero admitted defeat. It was naturally the best result for Allan. Thing. You have defeated Netero. You obtained the Supreme Sword Yoru. Allan smiled with joy, his power rose to the next level with his sword. At this moment, Netero came over and curiously asked, Allan, are you a transmuter? Allan nodded, yes, I'm indeed a transmuter. Netero asked immediately, so, the lightning-like speed and power you just used, you developed it yourself? Allan shook his head, that's not a Nen ability, no, to be precise, it's Nen at all. It's not the power Nen? Netero was puzzled, so, what kind of power is that? It's the power of the devil, Allan said. Devil's power? Netero frowned. I can't say much about the specifics, you can think of it as a supernatural power of a sort. Allan shrugged. He didn't want to tell the story of the devil fruit. In other words, even if you don't use Nen, you can still use the power of lightning? Netero asked. That's right. Allan nodded. That's really amazing, Netero said with admiration. I know that in addition to that power, you also have the ability of ice. But in the battle just now, you used only lightning, it seems that you are still hiding your strength. Hearing this, Allan smiled, after all, this is just a spar, you will have a chance to see my full power, Chairman. Do you mean the Ant King? Netero asked. Allan replied, Chairman, do you agree with my suggestion? Of course. Netero smiled. After their spar, Netero was convinced by Allan's power and recognized him from the bottom of his heart. Then Chairman, when you're going to challenge the Ant King, remember to take me with you, Allan said. Well, don't worry, you're so powerful, what can I do without you? Netero laughed. Chairman, the Ant King is so powerful that even I can't guarantee that I can kill him. Therefore, I was fighting with all of my power at that time. Netero nodded, when the time comes, I will go first, if I can't beat him, then you will take the stage. If even you can't defeat him, then I won't have any choice but to use the poor man's rose to kill him. Hearing this, Allan smiled and said, Don't worry, Chairman, you won't die with the Ant King. Because the Hunter Association still needs you to manage it. If you die, the association will be in trouble. Netero smiled, ha ha ha, thanks for your concern. However, This old man already decided that if I can't beat the Ant King, and I don't die, then I will resign from my position as the chairman. Allan was surprised. Are you serious? Netero nodded slightly. Well, I've been the chairman of the Hunter Association for decades. I want to hand over the association for the younger generation. Well, no matter what decision you make, I won't object. As a member of the Hunter Association, Allan naturally didn't want Netero to resign as its chairman, but since Netero wanted to continue in that position, he couldn't object. Allan, I look forward to your performance. You're qualified to compete for the chairman post. Hearing Netero's words, Allan scratched his head and said, Chairman, how am I qualified? In terms of qualification, I'm just a newcomer. Netero smiled. Although you don't have enough in terms of qualification, you are strong enough. You are now a 2-star hunter, and you already qualified to compete with the other senior hunter for the chairman position. That being said, I have little interest in that position. Allan shrugged. You're like Jing, you don't care about the position of chairman, Netero said. Jing? You mean Jing Freaks? Allan asked. Netero nodded. That's him. Do you know him? I don't know him, but I know that he is Gon's father, Allan said. Gon, the little child with the hedgehog head? Netero asked. Allan nodded. Jing mentioned his son to me, saying that Gon will catch up with him one day, or even surpass him, Netero said. I believe that as well. Allan smiled slightly. After finishing his fight with Netero, Allan temporarily left the Hunter Association back to Wall Island. His purpose was to see how far Gon had advanced since he last saw him a month ago. In the forest of Whale Island, Allan found Gon. His nen became much stronger than before. It seems like you are stronger than before, Gon, Allan laughed. Since I left, I spent almost 15 hours training every day. Except for sleeping and meals, I spend the rest training, Gon replied. As long as you keep that, you will become very strong, Allan encouraged. Gon nodded then said, Allan, can you please spar with me? I want to see how much I improved. Suddenly, the systems gave Allan 2 choices. Make a choice. 1. Accept Gon's request and win. Reward, 3 months of training experience. 2. Reject Gon's request. Reward, 1,000 nen point. Allan picked the first choice and said, well, let go. Gon was happily hearing this. Gon, go all out, I won't go easy on you. I'm happy to hear that. Gon clenched his fist and released his nen, which was quite strong and made him look amazing. Gon was an enhancer and he was best at strengthening his body. Boom. With an explosion, Gon rushed toward Allan and punched. Although Gon's attacks were simple, they allowed him to perform to the best of his abilities. Allan didn't dodge but let the punch land. He didn't block Gon's fist using nen, but he used his physical strength instead. When the punch landed on Allan, he could feel that Gon was indeed stronger than before. Even though Gon improved quite a bit, he was still far from reaching Allan's current power. Allan flashed as if he teleported and arrived behind Gon, and with a chop to the back of Gon's neck, Gon fell unconscious. Gon used Kin to defend but it wasn't enough. You knocked Gon out, you received 3 months of training experience. In a moment, Allan felt his power increase a little bit. I have to say, Gon is really an experience package, Allan thought, but he didn't consider Gon to be a tool. Allan picked Gon and went back to Mito's place. Seeing Allan, Mito was surprised and delighted. After not seeing him for a while, she found that Allan grew taller again, and was no longer the boy he once was. His body exuded a faint aura of a powerhouse as well. The next day, while eating breakfast, Gon said, "It seems like I'm still far behind if you can easily knock me out like that." Seeing Gon so down, Allan comforted him, "Come on, you don't get strong overnight, training needs time." "I decided. I will train with defeating you as a goal," Gon said firmly. Hearing this, Allan smiled, "Yes, you can challenge me anytime. I will not hold back and knock you down each time you do. I'm serious, you just wait, Gon said. Gon was someone to joke around, and from that day onward, he regarded Allan as his target. He still held to his goal of finding his father. The difference is that he wants to be a better hunter than his father, while he wants to defeat Allan. But in general, whether it was Allan or Jing, both held an important place in Gon's heart. 2 days later, Allan was about to leave Whale Island. Before leaving, Allan went to Gon in the forest and said, "Gon, training alone can't make you improve quickly. I suggest you go wander the world for experience." Gon thought for a bit and found it reasonable. "If that's the case, I will go outside, but where should I go?" Allan thought for a bit and said, "You can go to Killua. Didn't Killua go back to the Zoldyck family to train last time? I think he will also want to go out, so you can train together." Hearing Allan's suggestion, Gon said, "You're right, then I'm going to find Killua." Suddenly, Gon thought of something. "By the way, Allan, do you want to go find Killua together?" Seeing Allan hesitating, Gon said, "Allan, you just have to take me there and nothing else." "So you don't know how to get there and want me to take you?" Gon nodded sheepishly. "Although we went there last time, I forgot how to go there." Make a choice. 1. Agree to Gon's request and go with him to the Zoldyck mansion. Reward, Shadow Clone Jutsu. 2. Reject Gon's request. Reward, 1000 nen point. "Well, I will take you there then." For the sake of the reward, Allan agreed. In fact, he wasn't in a hurry right now, so taking Gon there won't waste much time. The next morning, Allan and Gon left Whale Island by boat and headed toward the Zoldyck family. A day later, Allan and Gon came to the Dentora region of the Republic of Padokia, where Kookaroo Mountain is. Allan and Gon took the sightseeing wagon toward Kookaroo Mountain, which is a great tourist spot. After getting off the bus, Alana and Gon came to the door of trial of the Zoldyck family. The testing gate is divided into 7 layers. The first gate is around 4 tons, the second is 8, the third is 16, the fourth is 32, the fifth is 64, the sixth is 128, and the last one, the 7th gate, is 256 tons. Only through opening the gate of trial can you enter the Zoldyck family. The scary thing about the gate is the guard dog, Mike. It's a dog that was more than 10 meters in height. "You two there, what are you doing? Leave quickly." A bald man walked out of the security house, beside the testing gate and yelled at Gon and Allan. "Uncle Guard, long time no see." Gon grinned. "What? Oh, it turned out to be you two." The guard recognized Gon and Allan and was surprised. "Good to see you well, sir." Allan smiled faintly. Allan could tell that the guard looked stronger than last time. "Presumably, you are here to find Master Killua again?" the guard asked. Allan nodded. "Well, we are indeed here to find Killua." "Uncle, Killua is home, right?" Gon asked. "Well, yes, the last time Killua came back, he entered through the testing gate," the guard replied. After confirming that Killua was home, Allan said, "Allan, let's go in." Allan nodded. "Are you going to push the testing gate?" the guard asked. "Of course." Allan smiled. "I remember you opened the 4th gate last time. How many you're planning to challenge this time?" the guard asked curiously. Make a choice. 1. Push open the 3rd testing gate. Reward, double Rashomon. 2. Open the 7th testing gate. Reward, nail punch, TN, anime, Toriko. 3. Destroy the testing gate. Reward, quintuple Rashomon. Allan picked the second option and open all 7 gates. "Uncle, have you ever seen someone who could push through all testing gates?" Allan asked. "I have seen Master Silva and Master Zeno do that before," the guard said. Allan nodded and smiled. "Then, I will open all of them this time." "What? Open all the testing gates? Are you serious?" The guard was surprised. "Well, I will give it a try," Allan said. Allan, let me push it first, I want to see the result of my training, Gon said suddenly. Well, you can go first, Allan agreed as he was a little curious about Gon's power as well. Gon put his hands on the testing gate ready to push and said, last time I opened the third gate using all of my power, this time, I want to open 5. Gon released his nen and strengthened his body to its peak before pushing the gates. The first gate opened, then the second, the third, the fourth, and finally, the 5th gate opened. After reaching his goal, Gon finally stopped and sat on the ground, breathing heavily. Gon managed to open the 5th testing gate, but he consumed too much of his nen by doing so. You have improved a lot since last time, Allan said. The guard looked at Gon in surprise as he couldn't imagine someone so young to be able to do this, except for Master Killua himself. As expected of Master Killua's friend, he isn't an ordinary person. The guard whispered. I will go next then. Allan walked to the testing gate which was closing slowly after Gon opened the 5th gate. Allan pushed the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd gates easily. At the 4th gate, Allan got serious. When he reached the 5th gate, he started using nen and opened it before taking advantage of the momentum to push the 6th gate open. Only the 7th gate was left, which was 256 tons. Allan was using his full power and the last gate started rumbling and was finally pushed open. Both Gon and the guard looked in shock with wide-open eyes. You actually managed to open all the testing gates. The guard looked at Allan as if he was a monster with eyes full of shock. Even Gon felt a little disbelief at Allan's power. He suddenly realized something and thought, is surpassing Allan something that can be done? You successfully opened all the testing gates, and received the nail punch. Allan learned how to use the nail punch without anyone teaching him. Allan turned to Gon and said, come on, Gon, let's go find Killua. Goodbye, Uncle Guard. After Allan and Gon walked through the testing gate, the guard returned to his small cottage and picked up a communication device to report Allan's arrival. The butlers of the Zoldyck frowned after learning about Gon and Allan's arrival. Generally speaking, the Zoldyck family was never happy welcoming outsiders into the mansion. For uninvited guests, the Zoldyck family would treat them as invaders even. There is only one end to the invader, which is elimination. However, this time, the situation was different. Because the people that came now were Allan and Gon. This wasn't the first time they are here and they had a special identity. The butlers knew that they were friends with Allan, so it was impossible to treat them as invaders. The head butler, Goto, had to report this to the patriarch of the Zoldyck family, Silva, who is Killua's father. Silva gave special treatment and ordered Goto and the butlers to treat them as guests. On the other side, Allan and Gon were moving toward the mansion. Suddenly, a huge black shadow rushed out of the woods and blocked their path. The huge shadow was none other than Mike, the guard dog of the Zoldyck family. As a guard dog of the Zoldyck family, Mike was trained to eat all intruders they don't know, but surprisingly, it didn't attack Gon or Allan, because it recognized them. Allan smiled and raised his hand. It's been a long time, Mike. Can I trouble you to let us through? We're going to meet your master. As if understanding Allan's words, Mike stepped aside to clear the path for them. Let's go. Allan naturally didn't do anything, since Mike let them through willingly. After half an hour, Allan and Gon stopped as they were surprised. In front of the mansion, a group of butlers and maids were lined up in 2 rows and they welcomed them. Mr. Allan, Mr. Gon, it's been a long time, Goto said. Allan smiled as he saw this. Are you blocking our way, or welcoming us? The patriarch said you two are friends with Master Killua, so you are welcome here. Goto pushed his glasses and said. Allan nodded, thanks for the welcome then. If Goto and the rest dared to stop them, Allan would have fought. After all, with his current power, there is nothing here to be afraid of. Please come with me, both of you, Goto said. Moving through the courtyard, Gon and Allan reached the villa with Goto's help. Master Killua is still training in seclusion, you two can rest here, Goto said before making his subordinate bring snacks to Allan and Gon. Okay. Allan stretched and sat down on the sofa comfortably. Gon was more cautious. Although it was the second time he came here, he still felt a little uncomfortable. Gon, relax, Allan said. Do you think Killua will come to see us? Gon asked. Allan thought for a bit then answered, he will. After all, we ran from Whale Island to his house, so he will come to see us. But Uncle Goto said that Killua is still in seclusion. I think he wouldn't come out quickly. Allan smiled, then, we will wait until he comes out. Gon was surprised. How long will it take? Allan shrugged and said, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 days, or maybe 10 or half a month since no one can tell. While the two were chatting, Allan suddenly felt someone looking at him. He turned his head and saw a young man in a black suit, with black hair and black eyes coming in. It was Killua's eldest brother, Illumi. Behind Illumi was a fat man wearing a white shirt and holding a potato chip in his hand. It was Killua's brother Maluki. Allan smiled faintly, unexpectedly. You're also here, Illumi. Seeing Allan ignoring him, Maluki said, Hey, why are you here again? Last time you came uninvited, and even though father treated you as a guest this time, don't be too proud of yourself. You're inside the Zoldyck family, and you can't get in and out casually. Allan shrugged and said, Don't say that. As the saying goes, once you do it once, you can do it again. By the way, you're Killua's second brother, right? I heard are good at computer science and games. But sometimes your brain will go offline equals. Maluki was looking in triumph when he heard the first bit, but the offline comment angered him. What do you mean offline? Believe it or not, I will bomb you. Allan smiled. I believe you, of course. You guys are professional assassins. No one would doubt your level of professionalism. It's just that. It's just that? Maluki asked. Allan looked at him sharply and said, Do you think that a mere bomb can kill me? After all, I fought against your grandfather. Maluki remembered what happened when Allan visited last time. He witnessed the duel between the two. And Zeno voluntarily surrendered. Although he guessed that the two of them were evenly matched, Zeno still surrendered. Maluki admired his grandfather, and to be able to fight equally with him, Allan was a monster and he couldn't afford to offend him. I was just joking, after all, your grandpa and father's guest, I can't attack you. Seeing Maluki like that, Allan stepped down and didn't care about him. At this moment, Illumi looked at Allan coldly. I heard from Goto that you and Gon are here for Killua. Allan sneered. I didn't come for you anyways. To be honest, Allan didn't like Illumi from the start. Compared to Hisoka's mood swings, this guy was more dangerous. The danger here isn't referring to Illumi's strength but character and psychology. Especially since he is a super broken through and through. In addition to taking killing orders, he just wants to control his brother in any way. Therefore, Allan didn't like him. Illumi said blankly, Why are you looking for Killua? Do you want to take him away again? What about it? Allan stared at Illumi without any fear. I don't agree with you taking Killua away, Illumi said. Allan smiled. Illumi, you're just Illumi's big brother, not his father. Whether Killua wants to go with us or not, has nothing to do with you. Don't forget where you are in the Zoldyck family mansion. Do you think you can take Killua away from me? Allan sneered. Hee, what are you going to do? After all, I'm a guest here. I will not do anything to you, Illumi said. Is that so? Didn't you say that this is your home or something? Allan sneered and dared Illumi to attack or do anything to him. Illumi understood that Allan was provoking him and didn't take the bait. Seeing Illumi so calm, Allan said, Alright, don't you owe me a favor? Illumi remembered what happened in the Hunter exam as he still owed Allan a favor and nodded. So today you will pay back that favor, Allan said. How do you want me to pay you back? Do you want someone dead? Illumi asked. Allan shook his head. No, I don't need you to kill anyone. Then how do you want me to repay that favor? Illumi frowned. Allan smiled. It's very simple. We are here to find Killua. Whether he wants to leave with us or not depends on his choice. You can't interfere with this." Hearing this, Illumi pondered for a while before he said, "I can promise that, but I have one condition." "What condition?" Allan asked with interest. "I heard that you fought with grandfather before. If you can defeat me, I promise not to interfere with Killua's choice." Thing. Make a choice. 1. Accept Illumi's condition and defeat him with absolute strength. Reward, Hiei's Black Dragon Wave, Yu Yu Hakusho. 2. Accept Illumi's condition and kill him. Reward, Black Spirit Pill. Although he didn't like Illumi, Allan didn't want to kill him as he is Killua's big brother. So he had to pick the first choice. He looked at Illumi and sneered, "Good, I will defeat you then." Illumi said expressionlessly, "I admit, you should be a lot stronger than me, so if it's a fair duel, I may not be your opponent." "Oh? You're aware of that?" Allan looked at him and smiled. "Then what should we do?" Illumi thought for a bit and said, "You can only defend or dodge for the 3 minutes. If I fail to defeat you in that time, you can attack. Do you accept those rules?" Allan nodded. "Okay, within 3 minutes, I won't attack." "Are you that confident?" Illumi was surprised. "Yes, wait, you will find out when we fight," Allan said confidently. "Then, I want to see how strong you are." Illumi was trained since he was young to become a professional assassin, therefore, he was confident in his strength. "Come on." Allan hooked his finger in provocation. Illumi didn't talk nonsense as his figure flashed and rushed forward. Facing Illumi's attack, Allan abided by the additional rules and only defended and evaded the former's attacks. Those rules benefited Illumi greatly as he didn't have to think about defense at all. With those rules, he was confident that he can defeat Allan within 3 minutes. An astonishing display unfolded in the lobby as Illumi displayed various assassination techniques. However, Illumi soon discovered that no matter how he attacked, Allan could dodge easily. It was as if he could see through his attacks and predict them in advance. As a first-class assassin, Illumi realized that Allan's instincts were very advanced if he could predict his moves. Allan was using his observation haki to predict all of Illumi's attacks. In the hall, Gon, Maluki, and the housekeeper were watching the battle in surprise. They all thought that Illumi will be able to defeat Allan within 3 minutes, but no matter how he attacked, he couldn't land a hit on Allan. Allan didn't even need to defend as he dodged all of Illumi's attacks, which proved the difference in their strength. "What's the matter, Illumi? Is this all you got?" Allan dodged Illumi's attack and mocked him. Illumi's face in a rare occurrence seemed angry. Illumi suddenly sent out a few needles which moved toward Allan like bullets. However, with observation haki, Allan dodged easily. But the needles weren't ordinary as they were attacked with Nen and controlled by Illumi. Once a needle lands, the target would fall under Illumi's control. Manipulation Nen is weird, unpredictable, and comes with rules and conditions customized by the user. Therefore, even Allan didn't dare look down on Illumi's Nen ability. At this moment, Allan sneered, "Illumi, the 3 minutes are up." In the next second, just when Illumi realized the danger, Allan's fist enlarged in front of Illumi's eyes. Nail fist. Allan's fist slammed on Illumi's body, who countered using Ken to defend his body. Even so, Illumi's ribs cracked from the force, and under the nail fist, they broke. In the next second, Allan punched again, and this time, Illumi was sent flying like a broken kite. The hall was silent. Maluki, Goto, and the other housekeepers were shocked. "Master Illumi." Goto was full of cold sweat as he watched Illumi sent flying. "This is the first time I've seen Big Brother struggling this much. This Allan is really strong," Maluki said absent-mindedly. The rule of the fight was totally in Illumi's favor, but Allan still defeated him. No, it's not just defeat, Allan completely destroyed Illumi without the latter being able to touch him at all. The power gap was just too wide. Allan moved toward the downed Illumi and said, "Illumi, is this enough?" It took Illumi a while to get up from the ground, but he didn't answer. Allan frowned and asked, "Why do you still want to fight?" "Allan, although you have defeated me, I'm not convinced by your power. Therefore, the duel isn't over yet." Illumi wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Allan's eyes turned cold and said, "Do you want me to kill you? You should be very clear about the gap of strength between us. So I advise you to give up wisely, otherwise, I won't be merciful again." "You won't kill me," Illumi said with confidence. "Oh?" Allan sneered, "why is that?" "The reason is very simple. I'm Killua's big brother, and you agreed to be Killua's friend, so you won't kill me. This is my intuition." "You're sure?" Allan smiled coldly. Seeing Allan's smile, Illumi shuddered. However, if he gave up like this, he would no longer be able to interfere with Killua's freedom, let alone control him. This isn't the result Illumi wanted. Allan seemed to read Illumi's mind and said, "Illumi, you're a manipulator-type Nen user, right?" "So what?" Illumi looked at Allan, not knowing he was getting at. "You think that by using your needles, you can control Killua like before, right? What about it?" "Hee, then today, I will let you feel how being controlled by others feels like," Allan sneered. "You want to control me?" Illumi seemed as if he heard something funny. "Yes, you want to control Killua, then I will let you feel what it is like to be controlled by others." "Can you do it, though?" Illumi said in doubt as he was confident in his power. "You will see." In the next second, Allan's dark eyes suddenly turned into a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. When Illumi glanced at those eyes, he could tell that they were very scary. And suddenly, Illumi found himself in Tsukuyomi. In this world, anything is controlled by the Creator, including time. Where is this? Looking at the blood-red surrounding, Illumi was surprised as he asked. In this place, he couldn't feel any aura, nor does he see anyone or anything. He was also surprised to find himself tied to a cross with his hands nailed there. "Illumi, welcome to Tsukuyomi." Allan appeared in front of Illumi looking at him with a smile on his face. "Tsukuyomi's world?" "Yes, this is my illusion world. The scene you are currently looking at is a space I created." "So this is an illusion? So, I can get rid of it using some pain." Illumi tried to struggle, but unfortunately, he couldn't move. No way. He had tried to bite his tongue, stimulate his pain nerves and remove the illusion in front of him. However, even if he bit his tongue, and felt pain, it still had no effect. He found out that even with pain, he still couldn't get rid of the illusion. How is this possible? What's going on? Isn't this an illusion? Illumi stared at Allan and didn't know how Allan could do this. "It's useless, this isn't an ordinary illusion. Even if you realize you're inside it, it's impossible to get out of my Tsukuyomi." Illumi looked at Allan's Mangekyo Sharingan and felt fear. "What do you want?" Illumi asked after calming down. Allan snorted, "As you said before, I won't kill you, but I will make you suffer. If you give up now and promise not to make any strange moves in the future, I can let you go." Illumi looked at him coldly, "You do whatever you want, but I won't admit defeat." Seeing that Illumi wasn't going to change his mind, Allan stopped talking. A katana appeared in Allan's hand from nowhere and the latter started the torture. "Listen well, in the Tsukuyomi world, I'm the only master. I can control everything, including time and space." Allan carried the katana and moved toward the crucified Illumi, then stabbed. Illumi felt the stab and blood filled the wound instantly. He lowered his head with a pale face. He wanted to use Nen to defend, but it was useless. He could feel the sharpness and coldness of the blade. This was real. He started wondering if this was really an illusion or reality. Was I stabbed by a sword or is this just my imagination? Doubt filled Illumi's head. Seeing Illumi's face, Allan stabbed again and again. After a while, Illumi's body was filled with injuries. These wounds weren't deep and didn't hurt any necessary organ, but it was still painful. However, even when he was being tortured, Illumi didn't let out a sound as he only frowned. "Oh? You're really an assassin from the Zoldyck family. You are well trained and your body can endure a lot of pain that can render ordinary people a mess. I admire that, but... Allan sneered, I'm the one doing the torture here, so it's different. You will be stabbed for 3 consecutive days, which means more than 30,000 stabs. So no matter how strong is your mind, you will suffer in the end. Illumi experienced 3 days and Tsukuyomi and his body was stabbed 32,453 times in total. Tsukuyomi is the ultimate illusion and an unsolvable one, because no matter how long the illusion stands, only a second will pass in reality. This means that Illumi experienced 3 days of torture in a matter of a second. So everyone watching outside couldn't tell that Illumi stayed 3 days under torture. As soon as the second passed, Illumi, who was standing in front of Allan, fell to the ground. What happened, Master Illumi? Goto stepped forward and helped Illumi up. He saw Illumi's face pale as if he experienced great pain. Allan, what did you do to Illumi? Seeing Illumi so weak, Miluki asked Allan. Allan shrugged and said, nothing, I just let him feel what being controlled by others is and made him feel the pain from thousands of stabs. Thousands of stabs? Miluki couldn't understand what Allan's words meant, but he could guess that in a short second, Allan did something which led to Illumi's weakness. Goto, take Big Brother to the infirmary first, Miluki said. Yes, Master Miluki. Goto nodded and took the frail Illumi then left. Allan didn't stop them. Illumi experienced Tsukuyomi, which could destroy the strongest of minds. It would take him 10 to 15 months to recover. During this time, Killua will definitively come out. At this time, Illumi wanted to stop Killua from leaving, but he couldn't do anything now. Ding. You defeated Illumi. Reward, Hiei's Black Dragon Wave. Allan was overjoyed. The reward this time was really good. As far as he knows, the Black Dragon Wave is Hiei's strongest move in Yu Yu Hakusho, which let him summon a black dragon to attack. With this, Allan had an ultimate move. On the other side, the news of Illumi's defeat by Allan quickly spread and finally reached the patriarch of the Zoldyck family, Silva. Silva, what are you going to do? That Allan dared to hurt Illumi, that's too much. Besides Silva, a woman dressed as a noble woman gritted her teeth and said. Silva glared at her and said coldly, Kikyo, shut up. What? Am I wrong? Kikyo said puzzledly, but her eyes didn't meet Silva's as she was scared. Silva stayed silent for a while and said, Allan is Killua's friend, and Illumi has a certain obsession with Killua. This time, when Allan and Gon came over, Illumi was first to object about Killua leaving. Just now, Goto explained to me that Allan wasn't the one to initiate the duel and even added a condition which states, Allan can't attack in 3 minutes and can only dodge or defend Illumi's attacks. Under such a favorable condition, Illumi couldn't even touch Allan in all 3 minutes. With such weakness, it wasn't a wonder that Illumi would lose. Moreover, Goto said that Allan had a chance to kill Illumi, but he didn't because Allan regards Killua as a friend, and since Illumi is Killua's big brother, he tolerated him for Killua's sake. If Illumi didn't go too far, I don't think would do anything to him either. Hearing Silva's words, Kikyo froze and said, What do you mean by those words? Illumi is your son. You're taking an outsider's side now. If Illumi knows about this, he will be very sad. As Illumi's mother, I won't say that you should kill Allan, but at least teach him a lesson for what he did to Illumi, right? Hearing this, Silva snorted, even if it was me, I'm not sure that I can beat him. Moreover, once I take action, it will cause Allan to be more dissatisfied with the Zoldyck family. Although we aren't afraid of anyone, we don't need to make an enemy with someone as strong as Allan. Do you understand? Kikyo said nothing. It was the first time that she heard Silva give such a high valuation of someone. Anyways, forget about what happened, and don't think about revenge, Silva said seriously. Got it. Kikyo nodded reluctantly. But in her heart, she couldn't forgive Allan so easily. After all, although she didn't like Illumi that much, he was her son and said son was beaten by an outsider inside her own house. It was naturally impossible for her to leave this matter be. As night fell, Allan and Gon were enjoying dinner in the lobby of the Zoldyck mansion. The dinner included pasta, grilled meat, salad, and red wine. The Zoldyck were very hospitable to Gon and Allan. Milluki was eating with them, along with Killua's mother, Kikyo, Killua's brother Kalito, and Silva, Killua's father. As for Zeno, he didn't show up at all. The dinner went harmoniously and the atmosphere wasn't as serious as Allan imagined. As for Illumi's injury, Silva didn't blame Allan and said that Illumi was the one who proposed the duel and made the rules in his favor but still lost. Allan was quite impressed by Silva's mindset. Bringing the head of the family wasn't for ordinary people after all. In contrast, Kikyo was a little dissatisfied with Allan's attitude. She verbally addressed Allan several times at the table, but Allan casually responded to her or even ignored her. After the dinner, under Goto's arrangement, a dark-skinned housekeeper came to Allan and Gon. "Mr. Allan, Mr. Gon, I'm a trainee butler from the Zoldyck family. My name is Canary, please follow me." Allan and Gon followed Canary to the second floor. "This village is dedicated to guests. There are 4 rooms here. Please choose one to stay in," Canary said. Allan chose the room with the mountain view, and Gon picked the one beside his. Since Killua still didn't come out of seclusion, Allan and Gon temporarily lived in the Zoldyck family mansion. After staying for a few days, Allan wandered around the mansion, because he couldn't wait for Killua to come out and planned to find somewhere to train. After hearing Allan's plan, Silva gave Allan a good place to train. "There is a mountain range filled with monsters, strong ones. It's a good place to train." "Strong monster? Sounds good." Allan decided to go. Before leaving, Allan found Gon and incited him to tag along, but Gon declined. Even though he wanted to go very much, he decided to wait for Killua to come out. The next morning, Allan decided to head toward the Thousand Mountain Range. However, when he walked out of the testing gate, he saw a boy in a purple kimono waiting. It was Kalito, Killua's younger brother. "Why are you here?" Allan was curious. "I heard that you're going to train in the Thousand Mountain Range," Kalito said. "Yeah." Allan nodded. "I want to go with you," Kalito directly said. Allan was slightly surprised. "Why do you want to go with me?" "Dad said that you're very strong, and he wanted me to train with you," Kalito explained. "I see." Allan nodded, but he didn't think that Silva will say that. Seeing Allan thinking, Kalito said, "I have been to that mountain range before, and I know the way." Hearing this, Allan didn't answer. To be honest, he didn't want to take Kalito with him. Seeing this, Kalito became slightly worried and said, "If you take me with you, I will call you teacher." Thing. Make a choice. 1. Agree to Kalito's request and take him to train together. Reward, Conjuration Nen Beast, Flying Dragon. 2. Refuse Kalito's request. Reward, 1000 Nen. Allan thought for a bit and picked the first option. He looked at Kalito and said, "I have 2 questions, you have to answer truthfully." "Well, you can ask." The first question, have you joined the Gene Ryudan? Kalito shook his head, "I've heard about the organization, but I haven't joined. Why do you ask?" "It's nothing, just a hunch that you may have joined or may join them in the future." Kalito sneered, "They are a bunch of thieves, I won't join that kind of organization." Allan smiled and then said, "The second question, are you a man or a woman?" Hearing this, Kalito was stunned for a moment, then he looked at Allan with puzzlement and said, "What kind of strange question is that?" "Answer me," Allan said. Kalito's expression changed as he didn't want to answer. But after a while, he reluctantly said, "My identity is a male, but I'm a female." "So you're a woman disguised as a man?" "That's right, no one except for my family knows this." Allan nodded without saying anything else. "Now that I answered your questions, are you going to take me with you?" Kalito looked at him expectantly. Allan nodded, "Yes." As Allan answered, he received his reward from the system. In the next second, He activated his new ability, Flying Dragon.